Welcome inside a climate-controlled AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas on a chilly afternoon here in the Metroplex. 42 degrees outside, but it is pleasant inside as we get you ready for the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl Class of 2020 here at AT&T Stadium. Hello, everybody. I'm Ryan Castle with Matt Cain and the entire Impact Football Network crew as we are once again here in the Metroplex and ready for another class of Blue-Gray Football All-Americans getting ready to take center stage here on the NFL's Dallas Cowboys home field. And Matt, this is a great opportunity for these players, most of whom are from all around the country and maybe have never stepped foot inside of an NFL stadium before. And here today, they get the opportunity to show what they're made of on the gridiron right here where the Dallas Cowboys play.
Yeah, it just like you said, Ryan, a great opportunity and great experience for these kids. You know, their season, their high school season's obviously over, and this is kind of a chance for them to get that extra game in and to kind of get their name out and show their ability and just to play in this stadium. You know, I mean, there's tons of kids that would be thrilled at the opportunity to come to Cowboy Stadium. I mean, it's such a beautiful looking structure and just a great environment. So yeah, the opportunity that it provides the kids, to extend their football career and also just to be able to look back on this day in their life and say, I mean, I played that game in Cowboy Stadium is a really cool experience for the kids.
We've got several players in today's game, and as the broadcast progresses, we'll tell you about these guys who are already committed to play college football at the Division I level. And we also have another set of group of players who are looking to get that recognition that you talked about, Matt, and also to be able to get the coaching that is available to them through this Blue-Gray All-American experience, not just today here at the game, but also through the All-American Combines and Super Combines that's put on by this organization. And so this can be the turning point for that player who maybe doesn't have quite the offers that they're looking for, they're wanting to play Division I football, and this can be the day where somebody out there sees them on film and makes a decision to offer a kid who otherwise maybe would not have gotten noticed.
You know, we talk about, just life is sometimes it can change in a moment, and you just kind of go from not really being known as a player, and then you're just provided that opportunity, and you kind of just seize the moment. You realize the opportunity that's been given to you, and you're excited to have that, and you go out and you do the best you can. You showcase your talents, and like you said, Ryan, maybe you catch the eye of a coach that just you haven't had caught yet, and it's just that moment it clicks, and you showed your ability level and what you can really do on the field, and you earned yourself an opportunity in your football career. But like you said, Ryan, just the coaches, have a lot, obviously, have all played in the NFL and spent some time in there, whether that's playing or coaching, and it's just really, those moments are really great for the players too, to be able to soak in just the knowledge and the level of expertise that a lot of these coaches have from playing the game for a very long time.
Now, there's no question, and the two head coaches in today's game know each other very well. They've gone at it for several years here in Arlington at AT&T Stadium in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. The head coach of the West is Mark McMillan, former Alabama Crimson Tide cornerback, NFL veteran with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. And he'll go up against a name that's quite familiar around these parts. That would be George Teague, also formerly of Alabama, and an NFL veteran defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys. And those two have great staffs underneath them as they coach up these kids. Only a couple of days worth of practices to get ready for a game like this, and so that's part of the challenge of a game such as this, where you don't have a lot of time to install certain things offensively or defensively as we come into a game such as this today. But Mark McMillan, that head coach for the West, he will have an offensive coordinator of Rodney Beasley. George Martinez will be the defensive coordinator, longtime assistant coach with the Oakland Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals. Larry Sinners, the running back coach, and several other guys on that staff, as well as you mentioned, Matt, former NFL players. And for the East, we mentioned the head coach, George Teague. Seneca Wallace is going to be the offensive coordinator today for the East. And then Chris Taylor, formerly of the Houston Texans and New Orleans Saints, will be the running back coach. Michael Ray, the wide receiver coach. Al McCauley, defensive line. Gerard Lewis, offensive line coach. And Sean Riley will be the special teams coach here today. As you look at the East team come out onto the field, head coach George Teague ready with his team out there. And this is a team that is made up of players from all over the country. Most of the Texas players in today's game will be playing for the West. And so that's sort of another element to these games, Matt, where these players don't know each other. A lot of the times they've never met someone from the state that someone is from. And so very interesting experience from that aspect as well, to get out and meet some new people that otherwise you wouldn't get a chance to play football with. Right,
and these, like you said, Ryan, these kids are coming from all over the country. And, if you're a kid that you live in, somewhere far on the East Coast or West Coast, and you've seen Cowboy Stadium, you've heard about it, but what a cool opportunity to come all the way here to Dallas or to Arlington and experience this. And like you said, Ryan, so much of life is just making connections and making friendships. And so if nothing else comes from this game, at least these kids can look back at some of the people they met from all around the country, some of the NFL, coaches that they've got to interact with. And so a lot of experience and a lot of memories definitely to be had today.
We're going to pass it along now to the national anthem here at AT&T Stadium. Just about ready for football inside AT&T Stadium. 42 degrees outside, but it is pleasant in here as we get ready for the class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. This will be the first of 4 All-American Bowls put on by Blue-Gray football over the course of the next month. On January the 4th, we'll be in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That game will be broadcast live on ESPN3. And then 9 days later, we'll be in Atlanta at new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the home of the Atlanta Falcons, on January the 13th. And then right back here in Arlington, January the 20th, for another Blue-Gray All-American Bowl at AT&T Stadium. For the West, several players, including 2 quarterbacks, who have already committed to play at the Division I level. In fact, one of those guys made his announcement not too long ago on his Twitter. That would be Cade Renfro, quarterback out of Stephenville High School right here in Texas, 6'4", 196. He had a great senior season for Stephenville. He threw for a lot of touchdown passes on the season, a 3-star quarterback, took visits to Florida State, Ole Miss, University of Central Florida, among others. And, Matt, he is going to go to Ole Miss to play for Lane Kiffin, the new head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels.
Yeah, and, exciting times for Ole Miss. Obviously, letting Matt Luke go as their head coach, and it's good to see that he's landed on his feet. I believe he's the offensive line coach now at Georgia. And, Lane Kiffin has obviously proven that he can be a successful offensive mind and a successful head coach, and it's cool to see him get the opportunity to take over the program at Ole Miss. And, but what a great opportunity, for Cade Renfro to go play and kind of just, there's some new life in the Ole Miss program and that Lane Kiffin brings. And I imagine that's going to be first of many recruits that Lane Kiffin is going to land over we're approaching early signing day, and so I'm sure he's trying to close this thing out as best he can.
Yeah, I had to hit the ground running there in Mississippi, and with 2 days until early signing day, landing Cade Renfro today, a 3-star quarterback out of Texas. The East team has won the toss. They have deferred their option to the second half, and unlike the snafu that happened out at that Star here yesterday in the Cowboys and Rams game, they actually were able to successfully defer their option to the second half, and so we will see the West team with the football first, and they will rotate their quarterbacks pretty much on a series-by-series basis. We will see different groups out there as the game progresses. 16-minute quarters here in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl, and that's one of the unique distinctions of this game, not only playing at an NFL stadium, which, as far as I know, this is the only All-American Bowl game to do that in the country. And the other distinction, those 16-minute quarters, which I think is a great idea implemented by Gus Bell in order to give everybody the opportunity to get out onto the field and, as we said, put what they have on tape so that they may be able to get that college offer that they're so desperately seeking. So here we go. It will be the East team kicking off from our right to our left. Their place kicker is Evan McGuire out of Thompson High School in Alabama. And his kickoff is high and deep and end over end, and it will be brought out of the end zone to the 10-yard line, and good coverage by the East as they drop the return man at the 10, and the West will be backed up to start their first drive. Jalen Davis on the return from St. Pie High School right here in the Metroplex, and he only got out to the 10.
That's a nice job there on coverage by the East team, to make the tackle. And what a nice kick there by Evan McGuire. He's got offers from Army and offers from Campbell University, and you can see why on that kick. I mean, he got great hang time on that kick. I mean, put it in the back of the end zone where you see, most teams obviously just kind of take a knee and taking it at the 25. So a great kick there by McGuire.
So the West will start with the ball in the gray jerseys today inside AT&T Stadium, and they're going to hand off on first down. Keegan Tharp is going to start as the quarterback, 6'3", 187 from Coronado, Nevada. And he hands off on first down for a gain of about a yard.
And that was Hunter Dell, the defensive lineman for the East team. He 6'2", 220-pound defensive lineman out of Ohio. Is actually first team defensive line in District 10, Region 3, and you can see why on that play because he was right there at the point of attack, so a great job.
So Keegan Tharp getting the first look as the quarterback. He had 1,900 passing yards and 21 touchdowns as a senior at Coronado, and the pass on second down is across the middle, intercepted around the 25-yard line, picked off by Scotty Easter.
Nice read there by Scotty Easter. Kind of just watching the quarterback's eyes and then made a play on the ball. He's out of Andale in Kansas, and he was actually the all-senior, all-state team. His team was actually the 3A state champs this year, and he also runs track and field, so he's obviously got some speed on him, and you could definitely see there in that interception when he read the quarterback's eyes and was able to react real quick and make a great play on there on the ball for the interception.
Start for the East. They get a good kickoff coverage, and now an interception on the second play of the game. And Andrew Brister out of Neville, Louisiana will start as their quarterback. Will throw to the near side. Pass is caught, and not much of a run after the catch. Now the ball comes out before the runner came down. The ball was caught by Jalen Smith out of Copperas Cove, and I believe the fumble goes out of bounds, and so the East will avert disaster there. Gain of a couple for Smith on the catch.
It's a nice route there by Smith. That kind of comeback route is all about timing and just executing the route. And he did a great job there, and he actually had a really good senior season, averaging a little over 10 yards per reception on the season.
I can't imagine it's easy for these quarterbacks and receivers to get on the same page with only a couple of days worth of practice. Brister will take the snap. He'll hand it off right up the middle. And carrying the ball inside the 20 is Savion Davis out of Stewart's Creek High School in Tennessee. Good downhill carry by Davis. It'll be 3rd and a yard.
Davis picked up, looks about 6 or 7, yards on that carry there, which is matches his average of what he averaged as a senior this year, a little over 6.5 yards per carry. So he's just kind of continuing on what he did all year as a senior.
He's not a big back, but he definitely runs with power downhill, and he'll get the carry. The ball is on the ground. He's able to pick it right back up, a fortuitous bounce right back up into the breadbasket. And Davis turns that into something positive. It's a first down carry for Savion Davis to the 12-yard line.
The East team is doing a great job here. The offensive line, I mean, they're just getting, especially on that run right before, just an incredible push off the ball at the point of attack. And so a nice opening drive here for the East offensive line.
Well, Brister will have two running backs now in the backfield with him. Keyshawn Williams is to his right, and Brister will throw, checks it down to Williams, right flat, and a nice open field tackle made just inside the 10-yard line on Keyshawn Williams. Gain of a couple will set up second down.
It was a nice tackle there by Cole Long, the defensive back, 6'1", 170, out of Shawnee Mission East, Kansas. And just that's such a hard thing to do in football, is to make that open field one-on-one tackle. So a great job there by Cole Long to bring him down.
We'll see if the West defense can stand tall here. The East, after the interception, moving it inside the 10, second down, and about 8 to go. And a fake handoff. Brister will pitch left. Williams at the 5, and he gets to the pylon. Touchdown, Keyshawn Williams. Out of Lehman High School in Texas on the toss to the left. Williams into the end zone, and the East has struck early with a touchdown. The extra point still to come.
That was a nice job there by Brister, running that option, kind of forcing the defensive end to commit to him. And then a nice pitch there to Keyshawn Williams. And, there's a couple of defenders for the West team that are actually able to make the play. So a nice job there by Williams to get past them and take it in for 6.
So Evan McGuire, who had the good kickoff earlier, will tack on the extra point out of the hold of the punter, Miles Tillman. And the kick is up, and it is good. All of the kickers involved in today's game are from Cole's Kicking. That's a partnership between that kicking academy and this Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. So we'll have several very good punters and kickers to tell you about as the day progresses. But Evan McGuire impressing early with that extra point, and then also with the kickoff that went 5 yards deep into the end zone.
Yeah, then Coach Teague's got to be happy with that start. Obviously, he's a defensive guy, and so forcing the turnover to on their first possession on defense, getting that interception, then to take it down a couple plays later. So a great job there by the East team. They did it on the ground game. They had a couple passes, got the option involved, and so a nice opening drive there by the East.
Yeah, what an incredible interception that was. I'm not sure that we gave that quite enough credit.
No.
Scotty Easter diving out to his left to pick off the quarterback, Keegan Tharp, and lead to that touchdown for the East. And now McGuire with the kickoff. And this will again push the return man into the end zone, who this time will decide to take a knee, and the ball will come out to the 25-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10 for the West, trailing early in this game. And sometimes, Matt, in all-star games like this, the offense sometimes stutters a little bit early in the game because of that lack of practice time. It's sometimes easier to go out and play defense than it is to get an offensive system put into place. But so far for the East, so good on that first possession.
Yeah, and with the limited time that you have, I think that these coaches are aware of that, and so they kind of stick to their bread and butter. And so I imagine that we'll kind of see both offensive just kind of keep it simple today with that limited time of preparation.
So the West will go to work from their 25-yard line, and Keegan Tharp still in at quarterback, back to throw, and will have to take off himself. Gains a couple up to the 28-yard line.
And again, it's Hunter Dell, number 50, the defensive lineman, 6'2", 220, out of Canoe, Ohio. And we mentioned him earlier on a play. I mean, just at that left defensive end position, really, really quick. I mean, sometimes when these guys are big, obviously you have the size, but do you have the size and the athleticism and the speed to go with it to really be a force out there at the defensive end position? And Dell showing that he has all three of those things today so far in this game.
So Tharp will go back to work out of a pistol. And on second down and about 7, we'll go back to throw. Here comes the pressure, and Tharp is going to go down. Sacked on the play by Matt Burba, out of Huntley High School in Illinois, who beat his man off the line and slung the quarterback Tharp to the turf. A big loss to set up 3rd and long.
And that's just another, display of some of the power that obviously these guys have, being 6'1", 6'2", we know that they have a lot of power, but you've got to show these coaches that I also have the speed. I also have the athleticism to get past my blocker. And so a great job there by Matt Burba to display those qualities.
So now we will see what Mark McMillan and offensive coordinator Rodney Beasley draw up on 3rd down. 3rd and 19. Tharp again under pressure, and he will run it himself, trying to look for a block, and is upended just across the 20-yard line. Nice tackle made in the open field by the East, and they force a 3 and out.
So great job there by the East. Obviously the West got the ball first, and then interception there by the East, and then to force that 3 and out, and to make them go backwards actually, and it's what, 4th and 12 now, or 4th and 13, and so definitely a great defensive performance from the East, which we would expect again because their head man is George Teague, who we know was a great defensive player.
Robert Amador III is the punter. He kicks it right to Bussman with the return, and a nice open field tackle made on special teams. Bussman with a short return. The tackle was made by Heston Warner of the West. The East will get the ball back. 10:46 remaining here in the first quarter. They're ahead 7-0, and so far have played really well, getting an interception and a 3 and out on defense, and then going down the field and scoring with a touchdown run by Keyshawn Williams.
I'm sure Coach McMillan for the West team is just kind of telling his guys, hey, calm down. Obviously they're high school kids, and there's a lot at stake in this game and a lot they're playing for. So sometimes the emotions get the best of you, and I'm sure that as the game goes on, they'll settle down.
Well, now Luke Lunsford will get his turn at quarterback, another Louisiana product out of Denham Springs, and his first pass is completed to the far side. Pass caught by David Dorflinger out of Catholic Central in Wisconsin. And a medium-sized gain there to bring up 2nd down.
And that was a nice throw there by Lunsford. It's so hard to throw on the run because, sometimes your feet obviously aren't set because you're on the run, and that can kind of throw off your throwing motion. But a great job by Lunsford there to really put that ball where only his receiver could catch it.
John Oliver in the game as a running back to the left of Lunsford, who is in the shotgun on 2nd down and 6. And they're going to hand it to Oliver. And Oliver breaks the line and gets a good gain into West territory. That'll be good enough for a 1st down to move the chains for John Oliver.
And John Oliver, 6'1", 230, so a big back there, but also showed a really nice burst of acceleration. And then, he was kind of carrying that ball to the right and then stuck his feet in the ground and kicked it back to the middle. So, big back with power, but can also really use his feet there at the running back position.
Luke Doucette out of Iota, Louisiana, is the other running back in the game right now. Lunsford in the shotgun, wants to throw. Going left, deep, and incomplete. Nice breakup right at the end. Heston Warner back in coverage, made a nice play to break up the pass, and it will be 2nd and 10.
That was a great job there by Warner because, honestly, that was a really nice ball thrown there by Lunsford, where really it was only going to be his guy that could catch it, but a great closing speed there by Heston Warner, the defensive back out of Greenway, Arizona, who had 9 career interceptions in his high school days.
That was really well done all around. Good ball by Lunsford and a good route by David White, the receiver, who had separation, but a better play made defensively by Warner, and now it's 2nd and 10. Lunsford, toss sweep left, and the running back, Luke Doucette, trying to get outside the numbers. Good job by Doucette, who, again, doesn't have a ton of size, but some good speed to get to the edge. 5'8", 215, and a gain of 3 to set up 3rd down.
And that was a nice job there by the West team. The cornerback, Jacob McCray, out of Maybank, Texas. One of the things you can't do at the cornerback position is let the receiver or the running back get to the edge. You have to set the edge and force them back inside. So a nice job there by McCray to do so and allow the West team to make the tackle.
After this play, we're going to check in with the 3rd member of our crew, Sean Siglinski, who is down on the field. Lunsford will throw across the middle, high and incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Sean Siglinski downstairs. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Standing here with Cade Renfro, Blue-Gray All-American Bowl selection. Talk a little bit about what it meant to you when you received the invite.
Yeah, you know, it's a great bowl, and just enjoyed being here and being with the guys. And, you know, I'm very blessed to have this opportunity, and so it's just very, very cool ability to do this. So.
Local kid from here in Texas, does it mean a lot to you to kind of come to Cowboys Stadium before you head off to the next phase of your career?
Yes, I mean, Jerry's World is such a, you know, it's kind of held to a higher standard whenever you get here, and it's just really cool being here. So.
College, that's the next step for you. Had a big announcement this morning. Talk to us about that.
Yes, sir. I just recently committed to Ole Miss and went there on an official visit this weekend. Felt like it was a great opportunity to showcase my skills and play in the SEC. So,
I wish you the best of luck down the road. Back to you guys in the booth.
All right, Sean, thanks very much. And you got to love that from Cade Renfro, who, you know, basically said, hey, listen, I want the challenge of going to the SEC and playing against some of the best defenses in the country for a guy in Lane Kiffin who has been known to be a good offensive mind. And so congratulations to Cade Renfro. Obviously not going to play in today's game, but a great job by Lane Kiffin to get a guy like Renfro out of Texas, and Ole Miss sort of showing that they can recruit the country. Right now, the West with a first down. They're going to hand off and a short gain up to about the 22-yard line. It's West football after the punt, down 7-0 here about midway through this first quarter.
Ryan, speaking of the punt, that was Miles Tillman. Kind of whenever we went to the interview there with Cade Renfro, Miles Tillman, we watched him before the game, and man, you talk about a guy that can get hang time, get distance, and really place the punt, you know, to be a weapon, you know, and he was booming it, you know, before the game, and that was a great punt there that landed just inside the 5 and unfortunately rolled into the end zone, but he's got quite the leg on him.
And here's a little trick play on an end around, and the East is ready for that as they tossed it to Caleb Boomer coming around the left end, trying to catch the East napping there, and that's a really nicely done job there by the defense of the East to stop that for a short gain. Here comes third down for the West.
Great tackle there by Isaac McGee, the defensive lineman out of Cumberland County in Tennessee. A nice job there, not to be fooled by the trickery and the motion and the, you know, reverse and all that, but to kind of just stay home and be disciplined and make the tackle.
So a big third down here for the West. They have not gotten a first down yet. Let's see what they dial up here. Coach Mark McMillan, the quarterback, will go back to throw, rolls to his right, and now is going to try to run for it himself, and he'll be tackled out in the open field short of a first down. Nicely done there by the East defensively as the quarterback Grant Plummer out of Frisco Heritage High School right here in the Metroplex not able to get the first down. Julian Rangel, big number 99, in to make the tackle.
Julian Rangel, 6'2", 320-pound defensive lineman that shows I got some speed on me too, and so came actually from the right side of the defensive line and chased the quarterback all the way down to make the tackle. So nice pursuit there by Rangel.
So second punt now for Robert Amador III. High Boomer. And here comes the punt return from Chase Richter, looking for a block at the point of attack, and will be tackled around the 50 by Cole Long. And so once again, the East will have good starting field position. They have controlled the field so far in this game. And they have the touchdown to go with it. Keyshawn Williams on the touchdown run earlier in this first quarter, the only scoring to this point with 6:43 left in the first quarter. And so we'll get a look now at number 7, Cameron Mays out of Walsh Jesuit in Ohio. He will be the quarterback for the East here on this possession. Starting at the 50, he'll toss to the right to Keyshawn Turner, not to be confused with Keyshawn Williams, and Turner will get outside the numbers into West territory for a short gain.
That was a nice job there by Sean Rogers, the linebacker for the West team. He was actually being blocked by Colby Smiley, the running back for the East, and I thought that he was going to be able to kind of get that block, but just a nice job there by Rogers to kind of fight off the block and make the tackle.
And so far, the East has done a good job of not having any negative plays and doing something positive on just about every time they touch the football. Mays will take the snap. He'll turn. He'll give it again to Turner. And Turner fighting for a few extra yards up the middle, still not brought down, right around the marker. And it looks like this may be enough for the East to move the chains.
Again, just the East team, the offensive line is just getting incredible, push and at the point of attack, and able kind of just to push the West team backwards and open up those lanes for the running backs for the East team. And of course, Ryan, any coach will tell you we want to establish the running game to set up the passing game, and so nice job there by the East offensive line to come out and do that.
They were short of the first down by a yard, so it's 3rd down and 1. And Mays will be in the pistol. Smiley's to his right. Turner's the deep man. Turner gets the call, and he stood up in the backfield. He will not get the first down. Denied on the play by several guys in gray jerseys for the West. Cole West was one of the guys first on the scene, along with Sean Rogers.
Yeah, also Austin McLean was also in on the tackle, the defensive lineman at 6 foot, 200 pounds out of Dayspring Christian, Colorado. So a nice job there by McLean to make the tackle also.
And it looks like the East will go with the risky decision here to go for it. 4th down and 3 at the West 42-yard line. Mays will take a high snap, pressure, hit, gets it off to Turner, and Turner will have a first down. Good play call. Mark McMillan and Rodney Beasley dial up the screen on 4th and 3, and Turner with the catch and the run for a first down.
And I'll tell you what really made that play successful was 2 offensive linemen there for the East team, Edward Reilly and Thomas Rodriguez, really getting out there and kind of being those lead blockers to set up the screenplay and make it successful. So a nice job there by Reilly and Rodriguez to kind of just say, hey, we got some size on us, but we can get down the field too, and we can be blockers. So nice job there.
And, you talked earlier about the athleticism on the defensive line, but, I could argue the same thing about the offensive line as well, and how important that can be as the pass out to the left by Mays is broken up and nearly intercepted by Sean Rogers. It'll be 2nd and 10. But anytime you can get those athletic tackles and even your center and your guards to get out on the edge, get out there, make some blocks for running backs in the screen game, and do some different things offensively because of your athleticism on the offensive line, it makes your offense that much more dynamic.
Yeah, definitely for that screenplay to be successful, you've got to get that offensive line, out downfield blocking. And you also just got to tell your quarterback to be patient. So a great job there by Mayers to be patient and let that screenplay set up to be successful to pick up the first down.
Mays will throw on 2nd down, escapes out of the pocket, man all alone deep down the field, caught for a touchdown. James DeBose Jr. got behind the defense, and a great job by the quarterback Mays to escape a little bit of pressure and find him all alone for the East touchdown.
And that's the kind of stuff, Ryan, that's what this game is about. Mays wants to show these coaches, hey, in a clean pocket, yeah, I can be great, but even if the pocket collapses, I can use my feet and extend plays and kind of, we watched A&M football for several years. What we watched Johnny Manziel do, just kind of make plays with his feet. And so a great job there by Mays to not panic, not throw the ball away under pressure, but really to just kind of keep his eyes downfield and find the open receiver for a touchdown.
And now the extra point by McGuire is up and good. And so with 3:48 remaining here in the first quarter, the class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowl at AT&T Stadium has the East on top of the West 14-0. And this has been just quite the clinic put on by Coach George Teague and his team. They have done a great job so far, and offensive coordinator Seneca Wallace as well for the East. And they are ahead 14-0 here early on. James DeBose Jr. responsible for that last touchdown on the pass from Cameron Mays. DeBose out of Cameron High School here in Texas, 5'8", 169. And you hear those statistics as far as the height and the weight go, and you think, well, okay, that's not very big for a receiver. But nowadays, out of the slot, you can really make a living getting deep down the field, just like DeBose just did behind the defense. Here's the kickoff. Returnable from the 1 up to the 10, 15, turning left up across the 20. And Evan McGuire with another good kick down to around the 1, and good coverage by the East to cover the kick as it was returned on the play by Jalen Davis.
And Ryan, I want to go back to the touchdown by James DeBose Jr. out of Cameron, Texas. Just kind of highlight just the successful year he had as a senior. 1,689 all-purpose yards as a senior. A majority of that actually at the running back position. 19 total touchdowns, 16 yards per catch as a receiver. So a really, really dangerous threat to have at the wide receiver position.
That is a guy that you would love to have on your football team, a weapon on offense. And on first down, some miscommunication between the quarterback, Grant Plummer, and his running back, and Plummer is going to do what he can to turn this into positive yardage, and he may have just turned it into a first down. Looks like he's going to be stopped short for a gain of 9, and that's really well done there by Plummer to improvise on a broken play.
Yeah, nice job there by Plummer using his feet to extend the play. Matthew Berber was actually in pursuit and looked like he was going to make the sack, but just a nice job there by Plummer to kind of feel the pressure coming from the backside and roll out. The play looked like it was actually designed to go to the right, but he kind of extends the play to the left and scrambles and makes it second and short.
So Plummer, who saw limited action this year for the Heritage Coyotes out of Frisco, Texas, will hand off here on second down and short. Looks like the progress was good enough for a first down to move the chains.
And Ryan, you know, a big reason why that was such a crucial play there for Plummer to make is they've struggled. The West team has struggled on offense, and so that was kind of, you know, if they take a sack there, I mean, that's just kind of, you know, rinse and repeat from what's happened with the West offense. So a nice job there by, you know, Plummer to say, hey, we got to get something going here, and to keep that drive alive and make it second short, and then obviously they pick up the first down there. So nice job of him at the leader, you know, the quarterback position. You want a leader, you want a playmaker, you want a gamer, and he's showing that he can be all those things.
And look at him directing traffic here, making sure everybody's lined up correctly on 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. Plummer will throw to the near side, and the ball is caught, tackled immediately after the catch. Nice open field tackle made by Brandon Florence Jr. as the catch was made out of the backfield by Caleb Boomer from Tillamook High School in Oregon. And a gain of about 5 will bring up second down.
It was really nice closing speed by Brandon Florence Jr. there, which is definitely a quality you want in your defensive back, is just, yeah, hey, we'll give the guy the catch, but we want a guy who, as soon as that guy makes the catch, he's not getting any extra yards. So a nice job there to make the tackle.
Plummer will go on a 7-step drop, pressured, flush to his left, and is just going to throw it out of bounds outside of the tackle box. Good pressure from the backside, and I believe that was Isaac McGee, the defensive lineman whose name you called earlier out of Cumberland County in Tennessee, and he got after the quarterback there.
Yeah, and, you know, Connor Wright was also there with him. Hunter Dell, whose name we've called a couple times tonight or today. So just nice pursuit there by the East defense, who's you know, they've really shown that they, even in a short couple days of preparation, man, they're really playing kind of as a solid unit. You know, that's nothing downfield was open, and a great job there by a couple of D linemen and linebackers to pursue the quarterback. So even though they've only had a couple days of knowing each other and practicing together, showing that they can play as a team in a really short amount of time.
Here's a big third down. Plummer will throw out to the left, ball tipped up into the air and nearly intercepted by Ben Furtney, one of the safeties on that play for the East. That ball was put on the money by Plummer, but the catch unable to be completed. It'll be fourth down.
Yeah, not a bad ball at all by Plummer. I mean, like you said, Ryan, you know, right on the money. He was trying to target Jamar McFarlane, and, you know, just had a lot of speed on that ball, a lot of zip on that ball. And so I don't know that he was ready for it as quickly as it got there. So, but definitely the West team's, you know, happy to avoid their second turnover of the game.
Robert Amador III's been a busy man today, the punter for the West. And this time the punt will go down to the 21-yard line. And so that is a pretty nice punt there, 52 yards without a return for Robert Amador III and the West. Here come the East, back to work offensively, leading 14-0. We don't oftentimes see this amount of offense early in these Blue-Gray All-American Bowls, but so far the East Coach George Teague, offensive coordinator Seneca Wallace, Chris Taylor and Michael Ray on that offensive staff as well, along with Gerard Lewis. They put together a good plan, and as you said, Matt, they've been working together cohesively so far. They'll start at their own 22-yard line. Low snap. Brister is in as the quarterback. Throw out to the right is going to be incomplete, and there's some contact in the secondary on the receiver who fell down at about the 32-yard line. So we'll wait and see what the penalty flag is for. It's our first penalty of the game, which is also sort of a rarity. It's going to be a holding against the defense. And so that'll be an automatic first down for the East.
Yeah, Ryan, you know what's interesting about this is I mean, we talked a little bit about this earlier. Usually when you only have a small amount of days to practice, it's usually the defense, advantage defense, you know, because defense is so much just read and react. So a nice job there by Coach Teague to have this East offense ready to play with the limited number of practices that they've had.
Brister, the quarterback, will turn. He'll hand off on first down. And a good carry behind the right guard. Good point of attack blocking. They're putting it all together right now. And the carry by Keyshawn Williams, who had the touchdown earlier, for a gain of 6.
It was a nice job there by Rudolph King, the offensive line for the East team, to kind of get out there and be the lead blocker. So great blocking there.
And they'll come out with 3 receivers, 2 running backs. That's the typical alignment in a blue-gray game. And before the next handoff to Williams, a penalty flag comes in from the far side. So after going about 15 minutes without a penalty, we've had 2 in the last 30 seconds, and this will be against the offense. A false start. So moving back 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 9 as we come towards the end of the first quarter. And the East leading 14-0. Touchdown scored by Keyshawn Williams on the ground, and James DeBose Jr. through the air on a beautifully thrown ball from Cameron Mays on the last East possession.
This is important, you know, an important possession here on defense for the West, because you got to get a stop here. You know, East team's kind of backed up, 2nd and long. And you got to get the ball back in good field position to go down and try to score, make this game 14-7.
The East just gets the playoff before the end of the first quarter. Deep throw down the left side, intercepted. Stepping in front of the pass to make the play is Jacob McRae, who came over as the safety. That ball was put high into the air by the quarterback Brister, and a nice play made by McRae to get the interception.
Yeah, it was a nice job there by McRae, and also, you know, Heston Warner was also right there, and if it wasn't McRae, it was going to be Warner. Warner, who has 9 career total interceptions in his high school football days, with 180 total tackles, being either a solo tackle or an assist. So great job there by the West secondary. We were just talking about, hey, that this is an important defensive, you know, possession here for them. They've got to get a stop and got to get good field position. They're down 14-0, and as we get here to start the second quarter, and so that's exactly what they had to have, and it's those kind of plays, you know, that are going to stand out to these coaches that are watching, that the safety made the right read. You know, that's his job, is to kind of be over the top help for the cornerback. And so, like I said, though, Warner was going to make it. You know, even who was it, Ryan? I'm sorry, I can't remember now the cornerback that came down with the interception, but
yeah, that was oh gosh, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Yeah,
there.
I'm sorry.
We'll get that for you.
Yeah, nice job there by the.
It was Jacob McRae.
Yes,
Jacob McRae, the safety who came over to make that interception.
So nice job, nice stop there by the West defensive backs.
So now to start the second quarter, it'll be the West team in the gray jerseys going from right to left. And they're going to start on first down, and they're going to throw deep after the interception. They try a bomb down the field themselves into double coverage, and incomplete. Deuce Hogan, we're seeing for the first time in the game now to start the second quarter, is committed to Iowa. And, Matt, he had a great high school career right here in the Metroplex at Grapevine Faith Christian. He had over 8,000 passing yards in his career as a 4-year starter at Grapevine Faith Christian, 100 touchdown passes in his career, and going to Iowa.
Yeah, it's hard to have a much better career than that. I mean, so nice job there, you know, by Deuce Hogan in his high school days, and I'm sure he was a leader for that team. And exciting days ahead for him heading to Iowa because they got a great football program up there.
He's going to go back to throw again on second down. Cranks one out to the left, and this is incomplete. Intended for Kyle Gaster, who was open around the stick, but not able to hold on to the catch. Scotty Easter and Ruben Lanker were in coverage. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Deuce Hogan really showing his arm strength there. You know, that's not an easy throw to make. You're in the middle of the field, and your receiver is running an out route, you know, to the left side of the field. And so if you don't put a lot of zip on that ball and throw with a lot of power, a lot of times what you see is that a lot of times that results in a pick six, is because it's just such a long throw and the defense has time to react. So nice job there by Hogan to really show his arm strength. And it makes sense now how he was a 4-year starter in Iowa after seeing that throw, because he definitely has the talent that the stats show.
Second down, and again, Hogan wanting to throw. Will escape out to his left with plenty of time to look downfield. Fires on the run, and the ball's caught in bounds. On the other side of the 50, the catch is made by Connor Auld, the running back out of Kanoa High School in Oklahoma. And that right there made happen by the feet of Deuce Hogan, who kept the play alive and then found the open receiver down the field.
Nice job there by Auld to find kind of a soft spot. You know, a lot of times when those plays break down, you kind of see it just turns into backyard football, and it's the quarterback scrambling until one of the receivers gets open. So a nice job there by Hogan to kind of dump it over the secondary to Auld for the completion and the big pickup for the first down.
So now the West trying to get back into this game. They'll hand off here. Good burst for a first down and more. Carrying it down to the 30-yard line. Jalen Williams-Fuller out of Agua Fria High School in Arizona with his first carry of the game, and he made it count. A gain of 13.
I was looking up some stats earlier on Williams-Fuller, and he had a great senior year. 904 total yards, averaged just a little over 7.5 yards per carry with 12 touchdowns on the season. And we can see why on that play, because that was some great acceleration, some great vision, and also able to kind of evade some of the tackles.
He's going to get the call again, tries to bounce it outside, and look at that open field tackle. Nicely done there on Williams-Fuller to stop him after a very short gain. And for the East, I believe that was it's Taylor Evans, the defensive back from Crespi High School in California, in on to make the stop.
Yeah, also in on the stop was Hadley Panzer out of Lakin, Kansas. He has offers from Kansas State, Akron, Air Force, Colorado State, Iowa State, and he's actually currently committed to Kansas State and kind of showed why on that play.
So Hogan on second down. Clean pocket. Now the pressure comes. He's in some trouble and is going to throw it out of there and incomplete. And that will set up third down. We're ready to go downstairs. Talk once again with the third member of our crew, Sean Siglinski, who is with Andrew Brister.
Yeah, Andrew Brister here to my left. We're at the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. You've been in town for a couple of days getting to know some of the top players from all around the country. What's the experience been like?
I think it's been great. I've just really been getting to meet the quarterbacks. There's a quarterback from Louisiana that I've been getting to know, and just the camaraderie that we all have together just with this Blue-Gray event. I think it's been awesome. Getting to meet all the NFL, ex-NFL players and coaches and everything. It's been awesome to just learn from them and progress.
Luke Lunsford, a couple of boys from the boot, kind of makes the experience that much more fun.
Yeah, so I really didn't know him, but we've done a lot of the same things, like the Manning Passing Academy and stuff. And so I've known him before, like I knew who he was, but I never really got to speak to him. But we've been getting along really well.
Great. College is the next step for you, like a lot of other young men in this game. What are your prospects looking like right now?
Well, ULM's offered me in a couple other schools. I don't really know where I'm going yet, but I'm probably going to decide around February, and we'll go from there.
Football's in your blood. Famous NFL father, played in the league for a number of years. Talk a little bit about what it's like having Bubby Brister as your dad, and maybe some of the guidance or things that you've shared.
Well, it hasn't. I mean, he's been great with everything. It's not like he's pressured me at all throughout my high school career or when I was young. He never pressured me to play. He was just always there, supportive of me, teaching me discipline, me and my sister and I, about just everything to really make me a better person, and not only just football, but all around a good person. So that's what he's really taught me.
Back to you guys in the booth.
All right, Sean, thanks very much. And Bubby Brister, former American football quarterback in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Philadelphia Eagles, the Jets, the Broncos, and the Vikings. Played at Tulane there in Louisiana. And his son now here at the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl at AT&T Stadium. Deuce Hogan back to throw again, will roll to his right on 3rd and 10, looking down the field, and is not going to find anybody open. Good defensive job there by the West team. And it is going to be, or by the East, I beg your pardon. The East defense doing a nice job to really make it tough on Hogan.
And Ryan, when we were going to the interview there, we missed a pretty exciting play that I want to make sure we highlight. Scotty Easter, I believe that's his second of the game, with a diving interception. Unfortunately, it was negated by a penalty, but man, he's just kind of shown today that he's a real playmaker there in the secondary for the East team, and that was an incredible diving interception that he had on that play.
Yeah, it really was, and it was the second one that he would have had today had it stood. As timeout is going to be called by the West prior to a field goal attempt, as they're going to try to put some points on the board here with Parker Lewis out of Saguaro High School in Arizona. And Parker is committed to play at the University of Southern California, the USC Trojans, and to go up there and play for USC. And, something interesting, Matt, just sort of a difference in the college football landscape over the last half decade or so with the institution of this new early signing day has really meant a lot of changes to how these programs focus on either retaining coaches or hiring coaches, because you want to get that coach in there as soon as you possibly can, because you don't want to basically waste a recruiting class with the early start to the signing period. And I think that had a lot to do with USC retaining their coach, as Lewis unloads the kick, and it is good. 46 yards, and would have been good from plenty more for Parker Lewis to put the West on the board here with 13:43 remaining in the second quarter.
And Lewis shows us exactly why he is headed to a big-time football program like the University of Southern California, because that was an incredible kick. And like you said, Ryan, that had plenty of distance, hit the net in the air and right down the middle. Nice timing, nice rhythm on his kick, and so really impressive field goal there by Parker Lewis, 6'4", 215-pound kicker out of Saguaro, Arizona, headed to USC.
That was very, very impressive, and I'm not sure you would have seen a lot better here yesterday from the Cowboys or the Rams, or maybe here in a couple of weeks at the Cotton Bowl between Memphis and Penn State. That kick looked like it belonged, certainly, from Parker Lewis. A 46-yarder to put the West on the board here in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl class of 2020 at AT&T Stadium. And now he will show us what he can do on kickoff. Back deep to return for the East is Taylor Evans. And the ball will bounce up to him at the 2. Here comes the return. And he'll get up to the 15, spins at the 20, a second spin away from a would-be tackler, and finally carried across the 25-yard line. Good return by Taylor Evans to set up the East with a first down across their 25, ahead 14-3 here in the second quarter.
It was a nice tackle there by Cole Long, the defensive back for the West team, because, he was actually kind of 10, 15 yards behind the play on the opposite side of the field and just kind of never gave up on the play. And so that's what you love seeing if you're watching this as a college coach, you're down 14-3. You want to see guys that are going to continue to fight, even when it appears like they're out of the play, that they're going to continue to hustle. And so a nice job there by Cole Long to chase down the carrier and make the tackle.
Luke Lunsford out of Denham Springs, Louisiana, the quarterback, tossed to the right. Nice play by Luke Doucette to take in sort of a low toss there, and Doucette will get positive yardage across the 30. Nicely done on the run on the option. It'll be second down and about 4 coming up for the East.
There's also a really nice play there by Clayton Roner, the linebacker out of Idaho Falls, Indiana, for the West team to kind of, just fight off the blocker and really able to make the tackle there. So nice job there by Clayton Roner.
So a second down and 4, and the East has been able to move the ball on just about every drive. They did have the interception a little bit earlier. And now out of the shotgun, here's Lunsford. Clean pocket, throws left, and it's nearly intercepted. And if that is held on to by Cole Long, he undoubtedly walks to the end zone for a pick 6. And Lunsford will let out a huge sigh of relief after that ball falls to the turf.
And I would have loved to see Cole Long able to bring that in for the pick 6, because that's the name that we just talked about, Ryan, on the kickoff, that was out of the play and hustled and was able to make the tackle. So it would have been so cool to see him be rewarded with his fight out there if he was able to bring that interception in and take it home to make this a 14-9 game, but just wasn't able to bring it in. But nonetheless, a great play there to break up the pass.
Yeah, no question. Good read of the quarterback, and here we go on third down. Lunsford again will throw left side, and that's batted up into the air and incomplete. And another nice play made defensively by the West. This time it's Carter Doucette out of the Woodlands High School here in Texas, down in the Houston area. And he came up and made a play on the receiver to force a fourth down.
And I'll tell you a big reason for that Doucette was able to make that play is he actually runs a 4.42 in the 40-yard dash. And so he showed that speed there. It's kind of different. Running straight, okay, yeah, you can run a 4.42, but can you translate it to the game? Can you, when you're backpedaling, plant your feet and then use that speed to go up and make a play? And Doucette showing that he can do that.
So here is the first punt of the game from Miles Tillman, and it will take a sideways hop and be downed at about the 22-yard line. Nice punt by Tillman, 44 yards, no return. And Tillman has a lot of looks at the next level in Division I football.
Yeah, and they were kind of anticipating Tillman to have an incredible season there at the punter position. He was the 2019 Max Preps preseason All-American, first-team punter. And actually, he not only does he punt, but he actually, kicks a little bit, or kicked a little bit in high school and had a really successful year there, kicking field goal, 7 of 10 at the field goal position, 15 of 16 on his PATs. And the longest field goal that he had this year as a senior was a distance of 52 yards. So really can be a threat at the punter position and as a field goal and PAT kicker.
So here is the West trailing 14-3. And back to throw is Hogan on first down. A completed pass up to around the line of scrimmage as the ball was caught by Jalen Davis, and he is dumped immediately for a very short gain of a yard. It'll be second down and 9. And I've been very impressed, Matt, with both teams' ability to tackle in the open field. Such a lost art today in the game of football, but both of these teams have shown the ability to not allow the yards after the catch.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to make that open field tackle, and especially, a lot of times it's one-on-one, and the receivers today are so fast and so shifty and elusive, and so you just got to really kind of plant your feet and just be disciplined in your tackle and wrap up. And so, like you said, Ryan, great job by both defenses today to do that.
And Hogan is going to go down back at the 15-yard line. The East is able to apply pressure, and they get the quarterback, Hogan, for a big loss to set up a third down and long. It'll be third down and about 17 to go now for the West as they again are able to get into the backfield.
That was Matthew Burba, the defensive lineman for the East team, whose name we've called a couple of times today. So he's been a really disruptive force for the East team on the defensive line. And great stop there, and you force the West team further back. And this is a critical drive here for the West, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond.
Hogan again in the pocket, has to escape. Penalty flag is down, and Hogan is going to go out of bounds right around the line of scrimmage. This may be an offensive holding coming against the West, and if so, it'll be declined. And again, well done defensively by the East to apply pressure on the quarterback. Eventually, It was Creek backer who escorted Hogan out of bounds. And this is going to go against the West. The East will decline, and the West will have to punt it right back to the East.
Christopher Torres was in on the backfield there to kind of force Hogan out of the pocket. And, you know, I've been really impressed with the defensive line for the East team. I feel like they've, you know, really been in the backfield and worked as a unit to kind of disrupt plays. And then the secondary for the East team also just not allowing guys. There's just no guys open down the field. And so a lot of times that leads to coverage sacks. So great job there by the front seven for the East and for the defensive backs.
Robert Amador III dropping the snap, able to still get away a good punt. The East doing what it can to get out of the way of that, and it will roll inside the 40 and be downed at the 39-yard line. 46-yard punt, no return. The East will have good starting field position up at the 39-yard line. 11:08 remaining here in the second quarter. And it's the East who is continuing to control things on both sides of the ball. Over the last, probably 5 or 6 minutes on the defensive side. Cameron Mays back in at quarterback out of Walsh Jesuit in Ohio. He had the touchdown pass earlier to James DeBose. That led to the second down for the East. He'll have 2 running backs in the field. To the right, good penetration into the backfield made by the West, and the tackle for a loss. And it looks like that may have been Delonte Dickey, the linebacker for the West, one of the first there to make the hit.
Yeah, and I believe, Ryan, also Luke Sirach was in on the tackle, the defensive lineman there for the West team. So a great joint effort there to force a loss for the East team.
A loss of about 2 sets up second down. Mays again out of the pistol. And again they're going to hand off. And again the West is there for the answer. Dickey got in there again. And right now the East is going backwards in the ground game. It is third down and long.
James Luer in on the tackle there for the West team. Again with Luke Sirach also kind of playing a role in the stop. So nice job there by the West defensive line to kind of stand up and show up. You know, they've kind of struggled today. That the East offensive line has kind of gotten the best of the West defensive line, but now the West defensive line shown, hey, we've got talent too, and they're fighting to kind of get their team back in this.
Colby Smiley has been the perhaps reluctant recipient of these handoffs on the first 2 plays of the series. Now big pressure. Smiley will get the screen to the right, and look at him get outside the numbers, fighting for the first down, and is going to be brought down short. And a tackle made out of bounds. The players are going to congregate around one another just to make sure that Smiley is okay. And the tackle made on the play by Buju Tuisavura. Nice play made by him to stop the running back Smiley short of a first down.
You know, Ryan, one of the things that often goes unnoticed for wide receivers is their ability to block. And that play was successful for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons that you might not be able to catch was the blocking on the outside by Haven Peenan, the receiver for the East team. He just locked his man up and drove him down the field, and so nice job there blocking to make that screen play successful.
Next punt by Tillman is high and deep, and it will actually hit one of the East players. That would have rolled a little further down the field, I think, if it had not hit one of the East players, but it will be downed at the 16-yard line. Another good punt by Miles Tillman, 37 yards, and no return. So it'll be West ball, the East leading 14-3. Here in the second quarter with 9:27 remaining, and still a lot of football left to be played. Still a lot of guys' names we haven't called, and just about at any moment someone could bust out and make the play that could define their future and get them the offer that they want to play at the next level. And let's see what happens here for the West on first down from their 16. They're going to throw on first down. Pressure, sack, fumble. It is loose inside the 10 and recovered by the West. great heads-up play is made by Deion Barnes, the running back, who actually went down the field and was trying to run a route and get open, realized the quarterback was in some trouble and came back to recover the fumble.
A really smart play by Deion Barnes. A lot of times what you see guys try to do is when the ball's on the ground like that, you'll see them try to pick it up, kind of scoop it and try to run with it. And what they're coached to do is just to fall on it. Because a lot of times what happens is you're trying to pick it up and you knock it, and then the other team's able to get it. And so Deion Barnes showing a lot of discipline there to do what he's been trained to do what he's been coached to do, and just fall on the ball and secure the ball for the West team.
Keegan Tharp is going to hand off on 2nd down and long, and not much for the West running back, Jamar McFarland, out of Uma Catholic, and tackled on the play by Scotty Easter, who has had a whale of a game so far for the East in the secondary. And you can just tell from his body language, he's been on the football field numerous times in his life and is not afraid of the big spotlight here at AT&T Stadium. Another tackle for him, and it's going to be 3rd down and 18 officially here for the West. It's been a little bit of a rough go for Keegan Tharp. He had the interception earlier, the fumble on this drive to set him behind the chains. Let's see if he can get something positive going here on 3rd down and long. Tharp will go back to throw from his own goal line. Is going to go deep out to the right into single coverage, and it's incomplete. Over the head of his intended receiver, Devondrick Crow, out of Kilgore High School in Texas, who is on an island in one-on-one coverage. And nice play made defensively by the East to force the 3 and out. And it's time to punt once again for the West.
And, yet again, the East, obviously it was a pretty clear passing situation, although sometimes, you'll see teams run the ball and try to pick up extra yards for the punt. So, obviously not entirely sure what's coming at you, but more than likely you knew it was going to be a pass, and a nice job there by the East defensive backs to do what they've done all day and not really allow any open receivers downfield.
We'll see what Robert Amador III is able to do from his own end zone. Gets away a high line drive punt, and here comes the return from Brandon Bussman right up the middle. He's at the 30, turns left, and is inside the 20. Ball came out at the end, but he was well down. The officials immediately ruling that Bussman was down on contact, and Brandon Bussman gives the East a good return and starts them off well. They'll start this possession at the West 18-yard line.
And what a great block there by Drew Edwards. He was kind of right there by Bussman, who was receiving the ball, but just a nice job there by Edwards to kind of get a really crucial block that allowed Bussman just that extra time to kind of get his vision and see the field and kind of decide where he was going to take the ball. But that doesn't happen without the block of Drew Edwards there, the linebacker at 6'2", 195 for the East team.
So Andrew Brister will come back on as the quarterback for the East. They're starting at the West 18-yard line, ahead 14-3. Brister out of Neville, Louisiana, will hand off on 1st down, and not much. Handoff goes to Savion Davis, who had a big carry in the very early parts of this game and tackled on the play by Matthew Canada, linebacker out of Marcos Deniza High School in Arizona.
It was also a nice job there by James Lure to kind of get in the backfield and kind of force Savion to bounce it out left. Maybe that's not where the play was originally designed, but nice pressure there by Lure to kind of dictate where the play is going to go and allow his team to make the tackle.
Brister across the middle to the goal line. Touchdown, Troy Hall out of Pineville, Louisiana. A Bayou connection for the score. And the East about to go up 21-3 with the extra point. Great play design, and that ball put right on the 1 for Troy Hall, who walks into the end zone.
Nice job there by Brister to kind of stand tall in the pocket and just, read the defense before the snap, kind of look at the coverage, decide where you want to go with it, and then a nice route there by Troy Hall. I mean, the slant can be just such a deadly weapon whenever the quarterback hits the receiver in stride and the receiver runs a great route. So a nice job there by Brister and Hall for the touchdown.
And the extra point by Evan McGuire is good. 6:47 remaining in the second quarter. The East all over the West here in the first half, 21-3. And you know that George Teague is loving life right now. He is up over his good buddy Mark McMillan here in this first half. And it has been really all three phases, Matt. Now you can say the East doing it offensively as they've gotten a couple of big plays. Defensively, really haven't allowed the West to do much, especially getting pressure on the quarterback. And now the special teams getting into the act as well with the big return by Brandon Bussman. We've got Sean Zaglinski, who is down on the sideline with the West, number 16, Deuce Hogan. Sean, take it away.
Thank you, Ryan. Standing here with Deuce Hogan, local DFW product, playing at Cowboys Stadium over here at AT&T facility. What's it like for you?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's always fun to get to suit up. So I had a quick few hours at practice, trying to get to know everybody, trying to get the offense set, but it's been a lot of fun.
You've been in this facility before. Bring us back to that point of your development. A lot different than now.
Yes, last time I played in here, I was like a fourth grader. The Little League Championships, we won, so that was fun. But come a long way since then, and so it's kind of cool to be able to kind of finish it all out here because I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life, So to be able to suit up here for the last time is really cool.
Spoke with Ole Miss commit a little bit earlier, and you're familiar with Cade Renfro. What was it like just kind of connecting with him again?
Yeah, Cade's my guy. We've been all over the country together, just like circuits and throwing together. So I wish he could have been, he hurt his shoulder. So I wish he was playing today, but it's always good to see somebody that familiar faces.
Next stop, Iowa for football in college. What are you hoping to do there once you step foot on campus?
I want to break records. I want to win a Big Ten title. I want all that, but most importantly, I got to do my job and be the best that I can be.
That's the word from down here on the field.
All right, Sean, thanks very much. And the pass intercepted, picked off on the play by the East. An incredible one-handed interception by Andrew Scott.
Man, that wasn't there's no other word for that, Ryan, besides incredible. Just kind of like a one-handed catch, reaching backwards. Just such athleticism displayed there on that interception. So, man, what a great job by Andrew Scott, 5'10", 205-pound linebacker out of Covington, Tennessee, really showing his athleticism out there in open space to come down with that interception.
What a play, and he sets up the East for another opportunity to score and further distance themselves from the West, who have turned the ball over twice now. They nearly turned it over a third time on a fumble inside their 10-yard line. And now the East set up with good starting field position again. And they will hand off to John Oliver on first down, and a nice job to spin away from some pressure in the backfield and gain positive yardage as he crosses the 20. Right now for the East, David Dorflinger out there as a receiver. He's been targeted a couple of times today. Luke Lunsford is in as the quarterback. And a couple of Louisiana boys have really led the way as the quarterbacks today for the East. Officials timeout here with 6:07 remaining in the second quarter. The West will make a substitution on the defensive line. And now we're back ready to go. Troy Hall getting that last touchdown catch for the East. And who will it be next? As the East try to go up even further in this first half, Lunsford in some trouble. Will throw back across his body. Ball caught around the 5, and a nice block at the point of attack. Gets the receiver Landon Tucker to the end zone. Touchdown East, and Lunsford throwing across his body, able to find him for the score.
What a nice throw there. Landon Tucker kind of was lined up on the right side and kind of ran all the way across on kind of a drag route almost. And so that takes a while for that play to develop. So great patience there by Lunsford to wait for the play to develop and then find the open receiver and Landon Tucker for the touchdown.
And I believe it was Andrew Brister who threw that last touchdown to Troy Hall. And so that means that every quarterback for the East in this first half has a touchdown throw. And the extra point by McGuire is boomed through the uprights. And with 5:44 remaining, it has been all East. George Teague, Seneca Wallace, that entire coaching staff down there on the near sideline, all over their counterparts, and Mark McMillan in the West here today at AT&T Stadium. And they've really done it in all three phases. Defensively, they've got two really incredible interceptions. They nearly had another interception and another fumble recovery. But give a lot of credit to the East defense. They have set up the offense in good spots, and the offense has been able to complete the job and go in and get touchdowns.
And, that's what you want to see as a coach is just you want to be able to execute and fire on all cylinders. And so definitely something that the East team has kind of come out today and shown that they're capable of doing. And like you said, Ryan, in all three phases of the game. And just that's what you want for these kids. You want them to come out and really showcase their talents, because that's what this day is all about, is really just letting these kids show what they can do on the field. So I'm happy to see them executing at that level.
Here's the kick by McGuire. Sidewinder angled towards the end zone. That hits the return man, Davis, who now has to return it from the 2, and he is hit and dropped short of the 15-yard line. And the ball came out, and it's recovered by the East. Ben Furtney comes out of the scrum with the ball, and for the third consecutive possession now, the East is going to start with the ball on offense inside of the West 20-yard line. The officials are going to talk this over just to make sure that Davis's knee wasn't down on the return. But if this stands as a turnover, the East has completely dominated this second quarter.
Ryan, I know it was Ben Furtney that came up with the interception, but I believe it was Ruben Linker that really laid the hit to force the fumble. And I watched a couple of his highlights in preparation for this game, and he's not a very big linebacker, 6 foot, 175 out of Webb City. But let me tell you, I watched his highlights, and he is so instinctive, and he is such a physical linebacker that attacks the ball carrier. And there you see it. Whenever you play aggressive, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest, but if you're playing aggressive, you can really be a disruptive force out there. So a great job there by Linker to force that turnover.
And Cameron Mays in as the quarterback here on this drive. The East starting at the 8-yard line, but a false start is going to be called on the right tackle for the East, and so that will back them up. It'll be 1st and goal at the 13-yard line. Ryan Castle, Matt Cain, our entire Impact Football Network team here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. As we prepare for the holiday seasons, we want to wish you a happy holidays to you and yours. And you may not be necessarily watching this in the holiday season, so wherever and however you may be accessing this broadcast, thanks for watching, as we are seeing some of the best high school football players from around the country on display here at the home of the Dallas Cowboys. 1st down and goal for the East at the 13-yard line, and Cameron Mays will toss to the right, and it's a throw by the running back to the goal line, incomplete. And that was Keyshawn Turner, the running back, who got a chance to unload one towards the end zone intended for Haven Peenan. And it's incomplete to set up 2nd and goal at the 13.
It's a nice job there by the West defensive back, Nathaniel Hansen, to not just get caught up in the trickery, but just to kind of stick with your man, play your role. And so nice job out there. He had a great senior year, 15 solo tackles, 36 assist tackles, so that brings it to 51 total on a senior year. So a nice job there by Hansen.
2nd and goal at the 13. Mays will hand off Turner, and Turner will have his legs taken out from under him after a short gain. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. It's 3rd down and 13, and you like to see this for this West defense. They have been put up against it the last couple of drives for the East, but right now standing tall and trying to force a field goal attempt. It'll be 3rd down and goal to go at the 13-yard line.
So nice tackle there by Sean Rogers, the 6'2", 185-pound linebacker out of Russ, Texas, just to kind of come up and make the play. Not the biggest guy, but, man, if you can just play with a lot of fire and a lot of passion, you can make up for being undersized. So a nice job there by Russ to make the tackle.
Well, Mays will be in the shotgun on 3rd down and goal, rolls to his right, and the pressure comes, and he's going to go down. Delonte Dickey comes off the edge and makes the hit. The linebacker out of Cherry Creek High School in Colorado came on a little bit of a delayed attack to the quarterback there and got to him. They drop him back at the 19-yard line. So now a field goal try for the East. And this is going to be Evan McGuire, his first attempt. A 36-yarder from the left hash out of the hold of Miles Tillman. And McGuire's kick is blocked. It is blocked by the West, and the score is going to remain 28-3 with 3:53 remaining, and that's going to give a spark to this West team. After that drive from the East started at the West 8-yard line, the East comes away with nothing, and the West gets it back starting at their 34-yard line.
That's definitely the spark that they needed, because it's this first half, you know, as we have just under 4 minutes to go in the first half, has really been dominated in all three phases by the East. And so it's good to see back-to-back plays, the defense getting a stop, and then the special teams coming out with a block there, and kind of see them start to execute in two of the phases also. So, yeah, definitely the spark the West needed to get going here on offense.
We'll now see if the offense can do their job. A screen play on first down, and look at the play made by Ben Furtney to tear up the screen and throw it in the trash. Loss on the play, back to the 31-yard line.
Ben Furtney with an offer from Cornell University, which, you know, is a great school. And man, what a nice job there to kind of read the screen early and then just be what you want, you know, at your linebacker position, just to kind of be instinctive and to go up and make the play, to make the sure tackle also. Again, we've been talking about both teams today, really impressive in the open field tackling. And so a nice job there by Furtney, the 6'1", 250-pound linebacker out of St. Charles North in Illinois.
And Grant Plummer is in as the quarterback right now for the West. Timeout is going to be called by the West and Coach Mark McMillan with 3:03 remaining. And I believe that is their second timeout of the half, so they're down to just one with 3 minutes remaining here in the half. 28-3. It has been an onslaught in all three phases by the East so far, but still a lot of football left to be played, certainly. These are 16-minute quarters, and while it's not necessarily all about who wins the game, you know, I was talking to Sean Siglinski yesterday at the Jersey presentation, and him and I were just talking about the fact that these coaching staffs, these are the most competitive people on the face of the planet. All of them played in the National Football League at one time or another, and most of them for several different franchises, and so they want to win the game. It's not necessarily all about that, but I can guarantee you neither George Teague nor Mark McMillan will walk away from this game happy that they lost. And so a good job by George Teague and the East to get them out to this early lead. And we'll see what Plummer and this West offense can do on 2nd down and 12. Plummer will go back to throw and is in some trouble, is able to escape the pressure, and now with some room to run, and will get up to about the 35-yard line where he is tackled violently on the play by Connor Henderson out of Porter Ridge, North Carolina.
And we've seen the linebackers for the East team really just kind of play disciplined football and do their assignment, and that's what you want to see out of your linebackers, is to not get caught up in the open field, to not get your eyes in misdirection, you know, leading you astray, but just to kind of do your role. And so we've seen that several times here by the East linebacker. So nice job there by Connor Henderson to, again, make the sure tackle. You know, I mean, not give up any extra yards, but to bring your defender down there, or the ball carrier down at the point of attack. Nice job there.
3rd down and 9 now for the West. Plummer in the pistol, wants to throw. Pressure from his backside, and as he unleashes the throw, whistles from the far side and a penalty flag here against the offense.
I think that's going to be a false start there. False start. And let me tell you that Hunter Dell, the defensive lineman for the East team, he got there in a hurry. When I saw the flag thrown, I honestly thought it was going to be offsides because of how fast Hunter Dell got there, but clearly not the case, and that's just pure speed on his part to get to the quarterback as quickly as he did. So a nice job there, and that would have been maybe a sack. Obviously, he was able to get the ball out, but I thought Dell was going to get himself a sack there, showing a lot of speed and pressure off the edge.
I'm losing track of the number of times you said the name Hunter Dale today. He has had a great game defensively for the East. And on 3rd down, Plummer with a quick drop escapes out of the pocket and now has to run it, and will cross the 40 and is again going to be tackled short of a first down, and a very good physical open field tackle made by several guys on the East.
That was Connor Henderson again, one of the main guys there on the tackle, whose name we called maybe 2 or 3 plays ago. Just these linebackers for the East team are really doing a nice job of tackling these players, these running backs and quarterbacks in the open field that sometimes can be really hard to bring down with as elusive as they can be. So a nice job there by the East defensive team in general, but particularly the linebackers to make the open field tackles.
I was just getting ready to say that I'm surprised George Teague is not using one of those 3 timeouts to stop the clock as his team is poised to get the ball back on 4th down here. And he finally did call for his first timeout, 1:22 remaining here in the second quarter. And the East is going to get this ball back with plenty of time and 2 timeouts to maybe try and go down and score. And at the very least, whoever we see at quarterback for the East, assuming they do get the ball after the punt here, will get a chance to show what they have in a 2-minute type of offense. And as we know, that's sort of the trend in college football, is going to the up-tempo and the fast-style offense. And so anytime these quarterbacks can have the opportunity to show what they're made of in that style of offense, the better. Of course, in this game where you don't have hand signals and things of that sort to get plays in quickly, those 2-minute offenses a little bit more difficult to take off. And none of that's going to end up mattering because the West is going to go for it on 4th down, and that winds up being the wrong call. Handoff went to Jalen Davis, and Davis is met by Matt Burba in the backfield, and Burba was not in a happy mood.
And Ryan, we have called Burber's name several times today also. He has just been completely disruptive on the defensive line for the East team today. So, man, talk about just stepping up and showing these coaches and these scout, they're watching like what you can do. And obviously that's probably one that the West would like to have back and punt and make the East go the length of the field. But great job there by Burba to stop them on 4th down and give the East excellent field position here with just a little over a minute to go.
Plenty of time and 2 timeouts. And Brister back to throw, going deep across the middle, and the ball's caught down at the 10-yard line. Good pattern, and a catch is made by Landon Tucker. It'll be 1st and goal for the East, and Brister is unloading him in the first half here.
He's had a really nice first half. We interviewed Brister earlier, and he mentioned that he had an offer from Louisiana Monroe, also has an offer from Jacksonville State. And so I'm sure both of those programs, after watching that throw on a little kind of a post pattern in the middle, would love to eventually land his commitment.
So 1st and goal for the East. And if you didn't think their lead was commanding yet, they're trying to make it that way here towards the end of the first half. And the throw down around to the goal line to Tucker again is incomplete. It'll set up 2nd down and goal to go.
It's really good coverage there by Manson Peary, the defensive back for the West team. Ball thrown a little low, but, you want to throw it to where only your guy can get it. And so definitely what Brister did on that play. But like I said, a nice coverage there by Peary to not allow the East to get another touchdown here with just under a minute to go in the second quarter.
So still 42 seconds, 2 timeouts for the East. And they'll break the huddle. Looking at 2nd down and goal at the 9-yard line. Brister will be in the shotgun. Troy Hall is the receiver to the right, and a timeout had to be called by the East. It's their second. They're down to 1 with 42 seconds remaining, and George Teague certainly would like some more points as we head into halftime here. It has been a dominating performance by his team in the first half, and certainly a long way to go in this one. We've seen some good comebacks over the years here at the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl, including a comeback from a few touchdowns in the second half a few years ago here at AT&T Stadium. But right now it has been all East with no indication that the West will be able to stop them. And we'll see what the East is able to do here on 2nd down and goal from the 9-yard line, down to 1 timeout. Brister will be in the shotgun. We'll see if they put it in the air here on 2nd and goal. And they will. Brister looks, screen pass. Hall with the catch, and good job to get off the block and make the tackle. Cole West out of Stigler High School in Oklahoma, the first to put the hit on Troy Hall. It's 3rd down and goal, 27 seconds. And the West trying to make another stop down here around the goal line. The East letting some time come off that clock, holding on to the 1 timeout. 12 seconds. Brister with the snap, looks end zone, fade, back corner. It is up for grabs, and it's now caught. A touchdown as Jalen Smith wrestled it away from the West defensive back, and Jalen Smith climbed the ladder to make the catch and the touchdown.
Nice job there by Smith to use his height at 6'3" to go up and get the ball at the highest point. A really, really nice ball there by Brister. I mean, that's exactly where you want to put it, and not bad coverage either. You know, really tight coverage. He was right on Smith, but man, Smith just goes up and makes a play. And like you said, you teach your receivers, hey, we want to go up and get the ball at the highest point, and that's exactly what Smith was able to do there for the touchdown.
So now the extra point by McGuire, and it is no good. He missed it. His first miss on a point after here today, and so with 3 seconds remaining here in the half, the East will have to settle for a 34-3 lead. That's
Ryan,
kind of been the only blemish on the special team so far.
Ryan, you know, one of the things in kind of just preparing for this game and doing some research, one of the things that pops out to you is kind of the versatility of a lot of these players, you know, not just on the football field, but a lot of these guys are baseball, you know, all conference or all district in baseball, and run track and field, part of state champion teams on track and field, and so a couple of the players that have made plays today, Mason Peary is lined up as a defensive back, and he made that play at the goal line a couple of plays ago, but he actually played quarterback. He's a defensive back today, played quarterback in high school, and he had over 3,000 total yards as a quarterback. And so, you know, a lot of these players aren't playing their natural position, but just the athleticism to come out and say, hey, I played quarterback, but I'm going to come out and show my talents today at the defensive back position. And so that's really what stood out to me, is just the athleticism of a lot of these players and the ability to play multiple positions.
And the return by the West here is going to bring us to the end of the first half. And just to piggyback off of what you just said, Matt, I noticed the same thing, that there are several players, not just Peary, but a few others as well, that played quarterback in high school and today are playing defensive back, or they're playing receiver. They're really doing whatever they possibly can to prolong their football career and go play at the next level, maybe even realizing it might not be at the quarterback position, but really just doing whatever they can to remain on the football field, and just shows a great love of the game by these players. And that is going to bring us to the end of the first half here at AT&T Stadium. The East all over the West, 34-3. And we are going to hear from West head coach Mark McMillan here in just a moment and get his thoughts on his team's first half performance, down by 31 here at the half. And Mark McMillan is down on the field with our Sean Siglinski. Sean?
Standing here with Mark McMillan, halftime of the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. Coach, what happened in the first half? Talk to me about what you go in and speak to the boys about.
Halftime, we just got to make some adjustments. We had too many turnovers in the first half. In a game like this, with only short time of practice, you're going to expect to have turnovers like that. But we got to clean it up, man. We got to come out here and fight in the second half. We got a long way to go. We almost got like 2 hours worth of football left. So we're going to go in there and try to rally the troops.
NFL veteran, you played at facilities like this your whole career. But what does it mean after the days of the gridiron are done and you being able to give back to the kids?
This is what it's all about, man. Like I said, it doesn't matter what the end of the score is, as long as we can make a positive impact on these kids' lives before and after football. That's what it's all about.
Weekend full of events for these young men. Blue-Gray All-American Bowl jersey presentation tour. We had a formal banquet last night. Action-packed. Have you had a chance to rest?
Yeah, I had a little chance to rest, man. I stayed up a little late. I was a little nervous for the game, but like I said, it was a blessing to be able to be up there with those guys that played the game at a high level, coaching against my boy George Teague, and so it's all in fun.
Good luck in the second half, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Back to you guys up top.
Sean Siglinski, Mark McMillan, two of the faces of blue-gray football. Mark has been in the organization for a long time and is an integral part of the All-American Combines and some of the other things that take place over the course of the entire year. And so certainly happy to have him coaching as a head coach here for the West, whose team is down big at halftime, 34-3. And Matt, we kind of heard him reference the turnovers by his team in the first half, and certainly any analyst, any coach will tell you right there that's really the number one factor in most games is will you be able to win the turnover battle, and 9 times out of 10 you win that turnover battle, you win the football game, and that just hasn't been the case so far for the West, and certainly there's a lot of factors playing into that in an all-star game such as this, but I know that's something they'll want to clean up as we get ready for the second half.
Yeah, when teams are evenly matched and have talent on both sides of the ball, like you said, Ryan, it really what separates the teams from each other is 2 things, really. It's execution, who's going to come out and execute and do what you do well and stick to your game plan. And then the second thing is who's going to protect the ball, because you do not want to give a talented team extra possessions. And so we've seen that a couple times today where the West has turned it over and the East has been able to capitalize off that. So definitely a point of emphasis heading into halftime. We got to do a better job of protecting the ball. This East team has a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and we've got to try to limit their possessions rather than give them extra ones if we're going to climb back in this game.
So what a job by the East in that first half. We'll hear from their head coach, George Teague, as the teams come back out to the locker room to start the third quarter. But touchdowns by the East in that first half by Troy Hall, by James DeBose Jr., by Jalen Smith, and by Landon Tucker receiving touchdowns. 2 of those thrown by Luke Lunsford, 1 each by Andrew Brister and by Cameron Mays. And then the 1 rushing touchdown was actually the first touchdown of the game, scored by Keyshawn Williams to give the East an early lead after the interception early on by Scotty Easter, who has had a fantastic game in the secondary for the East. I'm not sure we can say enough about what some of these players on the East have been able to do. And, I will say this, Sean Siglinski, the entire crew at Blue Gray Football, they do a fantastic job of evenly distributing the talent in between the teams, but there's always the one team that you look at and you go, okay, they got something there. There's some pop to some of the names on that list. And to be honest with you, for me coming in, that was the West. You had Cade Renfro, who we knew wasn't going to play because of the shoulder injury, but they also had Deuce Hogan, who is getting ready to go to Iowa, had the 8,000 passing yards in his career at Grapevine Faith Christian. And you sort of took a look at that West team and sort of the players that they've got on that list, and you're thinking, okay, I feel pretty good about them winning the game today. And then the East just comes out and completely dominates the first half of play. And so it's been a fun game to watch so far on both sides, and I'm looking forward to a good second half as well.
Yeah, a nice job there by the East. That's another thing that you want to show these coaches is, hey, yeah, maybe the West had on paper they had more talent, on paper they had the better measurables, or whatever it may be, and you want to show these college coaches, I'm not going to use that as an excuse, though. I'm going to go out and I can play too, and I can compete at this level also. And so, yeah, maybe they have the advantage, but at the end of the day, it comes down to who's going to make plays on the field, not who looks better on paper, who's going to make the plays on the field. And the East has shown that they're the team so far in the first half. Now we still have another second half, another half to go, and I'm sure the West is going to figure out a way to kind of make this an even more evenly matched game on the field. But definitely you've got to like what you've seen from the East players at the execution level, at the intensity level, at the discipline. On the offensive line, they got it going early. The defensive backs for the East just haven't given a lot of open space to the West wide receivers. And so definitely a lot of positives to take in to halftime if you're Coach Teague, and to kind of, I don't know what you say. There hasn't been a lot of mistakes on the East.
Right.
Just say, just keep doing what we've been doing and keep getting better and seize every opportunity you have to show these college coaches that are watching exactly what you can do.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And one thing that Sean mentioned with Mark in our halftime interview is the sort of the full schedule of events for this All-American Bowl weekend. It's not just necessarily the game, but there's several other events surrounding this game as well, and everything got kicked off at the DFW Marriott South Hotel over there near the airport in Fort Worth with the jersey presentation yesterday morning with the East and the West both being presented in front of their families and friends and receiving their jerseys, which is also always a very special moment for the players to be able to be introduced and to have their hometown talked about and to receive those jerseys, be able to take a picture with their position coach or with their head coach. And then last night at the formal banquet, which is always just a fantastic time, Gus Bell gets up and speaks, and several of the other coaches and people involved with blue-gray football are able to talk. And this is just a really great organization with coaches who certainly are getting paid to be here, but they're also volunteering their time in a lot of ways to invest in the future and invest in these football players and these student athletes as they look and try and continue their football careers. And so we're just happy to be here inside AT&T Stadium here today. And just a reminder, we'll have more blue-gray football for you in the weeks to come right here on the Impact Football Network at AT&T Stadium on January the 20th. That'll be the final class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowl, and then 2 broadcasts for you on ESPN3. The first of those on January the 4th from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the second of those broadcasts live on ESPN3 on January the 13th from the Atlanta Falcons home, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And that'll be a really fun time there in Atlanta as we bring you more of the class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowls. 34-3 is the halftime lead here for the East. We've got about 6.5 minutes remaining before halftime, and right now Sean Siglinski is down on the field. Sean, who do you have down there for us?
Standing here to my left is USC commit Parker Lewis, and to my right is Karen Sadler. Great connection between these two families. Parker, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you guys came in connection?
So I came in connection with Mike when I was in 8th grade at a Colts kicking camp, and it really, it was really nice of Mike to kind of like take the time to mentor me, especially at such a young age where I didn't know a lot about the sport of kicking and a lot of perfecting my craft. And he was a stud at Michigan State, and the fact he took the time with me to develop me out of his own time meant a lot to me.
Speaking about Mike Sadler, your son, we have a Mike Sadler Foundation. You work in connection. We also do some stuff with Colts Kicking, where this whole thing was almost born of. Karen, tell us more about the foundation.
So we began the foundation in 2016 after we lost Mike because he had worked so hard to create his legacy, not knowing that he would leave this earth when he did. And we thought there's something there that we can share with other people, So what we do now is we have 3 outreaches to the foundation. One is scholarships and awards, one of which is at Coles Kicking every year for a scholar athlete that kind of resembles Mike. The second is a K-12 Game Changers program. And in that program, we teach young kids how to start building their legacies now, using Mike as the model, so that whenever they leave this earth, they've left a positive footprint. And then third is a Legacy Leadership Conference, which is in development right now. So we hope to carry on the legacy that he created, and people like Parker Lewis that, don't dedicate the game to him after 3 years of not even being on this earth. That means the world. That says that he had an impact, and we hope that that impact continues through people like Parker, which obviously it is, and we're so grateful.
And you've been in this stadium when Mike was kicking. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so we were here for the Cotton Bowl in 2015, first of the year, and the night before he had won the Dan Petty Scholar Athlete Award, and that win the next day, Michigan State pulled out at the very, very end, you might recall. So it was very exciting to be here, and he and I came back the following year when he was no longer a player to watch Michigan State, unfortunately not with such great results that second time, but we spent time here in the stadium. So to be back here and with Parker, kind of filling in a little bit, it means a lot.
Very good. That's the info from down here on the field, guys.
All right, Sean, thanks very much. And, yeah, such a touching story, Coles Kicking and Of course, if you're not familiar with the story, University of Nebraska punter Sam Foltz and Michigan State punter Mike Sadler killed in a single-car traffic accident a few years ago. And so just as a sort of pay homage to those two who are no longer with us, every kicker and punter, every kicker will wear number 3, which was worn by Sam Foltz, and every punter will wear the number 27. Number 3 for Mike Sadler, number 27 for Sam Foltz, who was from Nebraska. And so very cool that that foundation has worked with Cole's Kicking and also in partnership with the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. 3 minutes until we start the third quarter. The East has come back out of the locker room. So, Matt, as you were saying in our halftime comments, I'm guessing they didn't have a ton to say other than, hey, go out there and do some more of what we did in the first 32 minutes. And, you know, it's been very impressive what they've been able to do in such a short amount of time as far as practice is concerned. And they have really looked impressive in the first half. And all 3 of the quarterbacks getting into the act on the offensive side, each of them with at least 1 touchdown pass. Luke Lunsford had 2 in that first half, and they have really impressed me offensively here today.
Yeah, you know, and that's what you want to see. I mean, obviously, this game is all about providing an opportunity for these kids to go out and show what they can do. And so you'd hate for the day to be a day of struggle and of lack of execution. And so really that's the message that I think that you know, Coach Teague is saying, hey, you guys are showing what you can do. Keep doing it. And if you're Coach McMillan, you're telling these guys, hey, you know, you've got to really maximize this opportunity. We didn't have the most successful first half, only 3 points to show for it, and just a lack of execution. But you have the opportunity now in this second half to really show these coaches what you can do, and you don't want to look back on this day and go, man, I didn't show them, or you know, I didn't give it my all today, and you don't want to be left wondering. You know, you want to know that you did exactly what you were supposed to do, that you took advantage of the opportunity, that you took advantage of the moment, and that you showed these college coaches that you're serious about extending your football career and playing at the college level. And so I'm sure, you know, obviously I don't know, wasn't in on the halftime speech, but I'm sure that was at least brought up to these high school kids is, hey, don't miss it. You know, don't miss the moment. Don't waste it. Go out, and let's have a much better second half than we did in the first.
Yeah, those 3 quarterbacks for the East, Cameron Mays out of Walsh Jesuit in Ohio, Andrew Brister and Luke Lunsford, both out of Louisiana. Brister from Neville High School and Luke Lunsford from Denham Springs in the Baton Rouge area. And you know, there's a lot of schools in Louisiana that could definitely use a quarterback. Louisiana Monroe and Lafayette and Northwestern State. There's a lot of Division I, not only FBS, but also FCS schools there in Louisiana. And everyone obviously points to LSU and their quarterback and what he's done this year. Joe Burrow winning the Heisman with the highest percentage of first-place votes ever. But certainly Louisiana right up there in terms of talent at the quarterback position, and that's been on display here today from Andrew Brister and from Luke Lunsford. And we are just about ready to go downstairs once again to Sean Siglinski, who is standing with head coach of the East, George Teague.
Coach Teague here to my right. Great start for the young men. What do you talk to them about in the beginning of the game to get them moving, and how do you keep it up in the second half?
You know, our guys are really motivated because not only do we want to win the game, we've been talking about that, but it's about the opportunity to be able to make some plays and really show up on the film. So as you can see, we had a lot of defensive guys flying around, causing fumbles, interceptions, guys making great catches. So I think there's a lot of self-motivation more than what we actually said to them.
Not your first rodeo. You've been with Blue-Gray football for a number of years, going on 6 or 7. What's it like being able to come and pour back into the game that gave you so much over the course of the years?
Man, this is exciting for a lot of different levels. One, you get to be around a different group as a coach. You know, you get to pour into the lives of young men, but when you got people from all over the country that are looking at you, aspiring to do something, anything you can give outside of football to them is what pleases me the most about this. When you got ownership like Gus Bell and, you know, you guys doing all the things you do for the kids. Sorry, I didn't want to get hit by that ball. That just being a part of this means a lot to me. I thank you guys.
your teammate at Alabama, Mark McMillan, on the other side. I don't imagine you have a chance to see him in the hallway. Run up the score. It's 28-3, or it's 34-3 now.
Our goal is to win the game. We say it's 0-0 right now. We know they have talented guys on that side too. Just as we put up those 34 points, they can come back out and do the same thing. So if we can keep our defense playing the way that we played, that's the only thing I'm worried about, is not letting them swing this back the other way.
Good luck in the second half.
All right, thank you.
I don't know, Sean. Are you at all disappointed in that response? That sounds like some coach talk out of George Teague. We'll see in the second half what the East has planned as we get ready to start the third quarter. 34-3, the East out in front. And, I loved everything you had to say right there, Matt, especially about the self-motivation piece. If you've got to motivate kids to come out on this stage and in front of college coaches here on the Impact Football Network who are looking for talent to induce into their program, I'm not sure you should be out here. And
right.
so this is a great word from George Teague there, that these players are self-motivated, and we've seen that so far from the East.
Yeah, and I, whenever he said that, I kind of just, it really resonated. I thought, man, that's such a great point, that it's not really what the coaches have said to them and all that. I mean, these guys want to be, they just intrinsically, intuitively, they know, hey, this is my moment, and it's intrinsic motivation. And does it help to have an NFL coach kind of cheering you along the way? Absolutely. Is that an extra bonus to this? Of course. Is there great knowledge to be gained from listening to them coach you along the way and give you small nuggets that are going to really help you improve your craft, whatever position you play? For sure. But at the end of the day, these players, they grew up playing football. I mean, some of them have been doing it since they were, 6, 7 years old, and it's been a part of their life, and they don't want it to end this year. They want it to keep going, and a lot of kids are chasing, obviously, the dream of making it to the NFL. And so they have that motivation, they have that passion inside of them, but it does help to have a coach like Coach Teague kind of giving you a little extra support.
Here's the kickoff by Parker Lewis to start the third quarter, and I think he split the uprights.
Yeah, if they have changed the rules in football at any point to where a kickoff could get you some points, USC is going to be pretty happy to have Parker Lewis, because that was a bomb that he just sent through the uprights. And, man, I was looking up some stats on him, and just he's the number 3 ranked kicker in the nation, and there's a lot of players out there, and so to be number 3 at that position, and then obviously to go on to USC, quite the accomplishment for him. But just watching him during that interview, it's you can just tell he's an impressive young man, not just in his ability to kick, but just who he is.
Yep, out of Saguaro High School in Arizona, headed to play for Clay Helton in the Pac-12 at USC. And on first down, the East will hand off up the middle. Not much of a gain on the play for Luke Doucette. It'll be second down. Starting at quarterback here in this third quarter. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute. Looks like Luke Lunsford, who had the 2 touchdown passes in the first half. And so he'll get the nod to start this third quarter with his team way in front here in the class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowl.
Luke Lunsford with a couple offers from Nicholls State and Alabama Birmingham, looking to pick up a couple extra offers after his performance today.
Handoff, John Oliver, and the big bruiser will cross the 30, get close to a first down. Third and short coming up for the East.
This is an important, play here for the West defense, because, you're down by 31 points, and the only way you can get back in this game is to stop the East and get the ball back and go down and execute. But you can't allow them to go down and sustain these drives and then it end with points. And if we learned anything from the East offensive line, is that they can do that. They have a lot of power up front and ability to run the ball and to open, huge lanes for the running backs and sustain these drives. So a big stop here West needs here on third down.
Lunsford wants to throw, lobs it left side. Oliver catching a first down. John Oliver out of the backfield, operating as the check down for Luke Lunsford there with a catch and a first down run across the 40.
Yeah, nice play design there by the East to kind of, make it seem like the play was going to the right and then to sneak Oliver out to the left, and a nice easy catch or pass and catch there to pick up the first down.
So the East will keep it going. First down at their 43, and now massive substitutions up front for the West as they get a new group in on the defensive line. Michael Myers is coaching the defensive line today for the West. Lunsford wants to throw, and coming off untouched to the quarterback, and now the throw out is incomplete. Looking for Dorflinger, as there was immediate pressure in the backfield on Lunsford. He was somehow able to avoid the sack. It'll be second down.
And Tegan Jones, the defensive back for the West, with a nice pass breakup there, because Lunsford had extended that play and honestly gave his wide receiver a chance to be successful. But Tegan Jones, the 5'11", 170-pound defensive back out of Academy, Texas, with a great coverage and then the nice pass breakup.
I believe that was Hernan Ortiz who nearly sacked Lunsford in the backfield, and Lunsford able to escape out of there. 2nd and 10. And he'll turn and he'll hand to Doucette right up the middle. Doucette will carry the ball to the Blue Star right at the 50, gain of 8. And Luke Doucette, who we mentioned earlier doesn't have a ton of size, makes up for that with the speed. 5'8", 215 out of Iota, Louisiana.
And he just kind of took that ball and, ran with a lot of purpose and with intensity. And like you said, Ryan, if you're not the biggest back, then you've got to find ways to still make plays. And so using his speed on that time, his vision, I honestly thought he was going to kick it back right, because that looked like where the offensive line had kind of designed the play to go. But nice job, but he said, to find the open space in the middle, and a nice gain there on second down.
And Doucette again will get the call, and he'll have a first down, spun down in West territory at the 44-yard line. And, sometimes, it sounds maybe counterintuitive, but sometimes it's the smaller guys who are tougher to defend, and really for a lot of the reason is because it's easy for those smaller guys to hide behind that offensive line. And as a defender, it's tough to see those smaller running backs. You kind of just have to trust the blocking and try to meet the running back in the hole, but, nobody has really done that better over the course of their career than Darren Sproles, who right now is with the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the smaller running backs. Fake handoff to Oliver, pitch Doucette outside the numbers, first down carry, and will go out of bounds at the 29. Gain of 15 for Doucette on the option right.
So Doucette is, again, doing what you want the players to do in this game and showing their versatility. We've seen him run the ball in between the tackles, up the field, in tight spaces, and then he shows his talent to get out in open space, get to the edge, and pick up a nice gain there. So a great job by Doucette, kind of showing his skill set both in between the tackles and also on the edge. And a couple of plays ago, Hayden Stocking was going to tackle Doucette, but Doucette was able to kind of get off the tackle, and that's really impressive, because Hayden Stocking had 21 solo tackles, 60 total, 4.5 tackles a game. So he's a really sure tackler that Doucette was able to kind of evade on that play.
On first down, throw left is incomplete, trying to set up the screen to David White out of Cassville High School in Missouri. And so second down for the East. 12:16 remaining here in the third, and you get a look at Luke Lunsford out of Denham Springs High School in Louisiana, right around the Baton Rouge area. So he's familiar with LSU and what Joe Burrow was able to do this year for the Tigers and Coach Ed Orgeron and that entire staff, bringing in Joe Brady as the passing game coordinator. 2nd and 10, and Oliver, and that play got off to a rough start as Oliver and Lunsford collide in the backfield, and Oliver is ruled down back at the 34-yard line. They're going to lose 5.
Yeah, just some miscommunication on that play, which, we talked about earlier. These guys only have, 3 practices, right? Or 3, I can't remember exactly how many practices there are, but definitely not enough, to expect this game to be mistake-free.
Sure.
And so, those kind of things happen, but really it's about how do you respond. And I think people understand the nature of this, of limited time together. And, I thought this play was going this way, you thought it was this, and miscommunication. But that's we haven't seen many mistakes like that from the East today.
Lunsford will go deep, intercepted. Picked off on the play by Cole Long out of Kansas, just playing center field as the safety there, and read the quarterback's eyes, able to get over and step in front.
And Ryan, I'm not so sure that wasn't another one of those miscommunication where the quarterback thought the receiver was going to extend his route and the receiver stopped short. But again, like we said, that's to be expected. And with these guys, I mean, they're meeting. Some of them met for the first time just a couple of days ago, or and you're from all over the country, and some guys are out of their natural position, and we talked a little bit about that. And so there's a lot of factors that can lead to the miscommunication, but nonetheless, a great interception there by Cole Long.
So now first down for the West as they get the turnover. And they'll try to go to work offensively. Deuce Hogan will start the third quarter as the quarterback and looking for somewhere to throw, and just throws it up dangerously incomplete as he just kept dropping back and back and back. And I think he tried to throw it out of bounds, but it didn't quite get there, and he's lucky that ball was incomplete.
Yeah, and really what was impressive on that play was the defensive lineman for the East team, Larry Jones Jr. Just kind of sometimes what you'll see is defensive linemen try to get upfield too fast, and then the quarterback is able to kind of get outside of them. And so nice job there by Larry Jones Jr. just kind of set his feet and not let the quarterback get around him and force him to throw that ball away.
So 2nd and 10, the West at their 22-yard line. 11-11 remaining. Third quarter, Hogan looking to throw, and he's going to go out to the left. That ball's caught. Is it in bounds? No, says the near side line judge. But a pretty impressive haul-in nonetheless by Jamar McFarland. It will not count as a completion, but just to hang on to that ball. 3rd and 10 coming up.
And I think there's two players there for the East involved, Dylan Burdett and then Scotty Easter, whose name we've called several times today, the all-senior, all-state team, part of the 3A state championship, a star in track and field, been very active on the defensive side of the ball today for the East.
So now a 3rd and 10 for the West, and they're in danger of another 3 and out and having to punt it right back to the East. Let's see if Hogan can convert this 3rd down and long. He'll go back to pass, clean pocket, and now is going to have to escape. Plants, fires deep, comeback route, and the ball is caught across the 40. First down catch by Easton Myrick, and a good job of improvising between quarterback and receiver.
Yeah, the pocket had kind of collapsed, and so great job there extending the play and picking up the first down, and a nice little comeback route to kind of make something out of nothing there for Easton Myrick.
Out of Bernie, Texas. And he will keep the drive going here for the West. A first down up at the 41. The West is in a big hole, but there's a lot of time left in the game. And a handoff here on first down. Spencer Peterson will carry it for the first time in the game out of Pine Creek High School in Colorado. And a pretty healthy gain there of close to 5 yards.
Nice tackle there again by Larry Jones Jr., whose name we called earlier, kind of setting his feet and not allowing Deuce Hogan to get outside. So nice job there by Larry Jones Jr. in pursuit of the running back to make the tackle.
Single coverage to the bottom of your screen. Scotty Easter on the defense, and a handoff up the middle, not much room. The line of scrimmage, and that'll be it, as Isaac McGee, one of the first ones in there for the East. And it's going to be 3rd down and 6 coming up for this West offense, as they were able to convert a 3rd down a little earlier on this drive, now looking at a 3rd and 6.
He was kind of met by a wall of defenders there for the East team, and Julian Rangel was also a part of the tackle. And, we've talked about the strength of the East offensive line, but, man, there's a couple of playmakers there on the defensive line for the East team, too, that have really shown up today.
So a big 3rd down and 6. And Hogan trying to get everybody lined up. Still 20 on the play clock, and he'll go back to throw. Plants his feet, fires near side, completed pass once again to Myrick, but a tackle made in the open field by Scotty Easter, to stop Myrick short of a first down and set up a 4th and short.
And that's been a real fun battle to kind of watch on this possession, is Myrick versus Easter. Myrick at the receiver position and Easter at the cornerback position. And a great ball there by Hogan, a great route and great coverage, and that's what you want to see. You want to see, if you're going to complete it, you want the coverage to be tight, you want the throw to be good, and you want all 3 players involved to execute at a high level. And all 3 of them were able to do that there on that play.
So looked like they did give him the first down on that play. And so now Hogan a throw again, another completed pass.
Myrick
and
again.
again, Myrick right at the stick in front of Easter. It's going to be 2nd down and short. And Easton Myrick now with 3 catches on this drive, and really all on that same pattern, that good comeback route, putting his foot in the ground and turning around, making himself available to the quarterback, and Hogan's putting it on the money.
And Coach Teague is kind of getting involved, kind of coaching up Easter a little bit. He's a couple of plays in a row, he's been attacked, and I think he's kind of saying, hey, stay with it. Don't lose your confidence, because confidence is such an important quality to have at the cornerback position, because if you can lose it, you can get beat real fast by these wide receivers.
Hogan is going to look Easter's way again. Myrick beat him, and the ball's caught inbounds. Getting a foot in is Myrick, and Hogan over the back shoulder. A big completion to set up the West inside the East 15-yard line.
Nice job by Myrick. That's not an easy catch to make there, kind of over your shoulder, and what a great ball there by Hogan to put that ball where only his receiver can catch on that outside shoulder. But you can throw the ball perfectly, but the receiver still got to come down and make the catch, and Myrick able to do that as West is starting to kind of get in a groove here, maybe for the first time really today, put together a nice drive.
This is easily their most impressive drive of the afternoon. 1st and 10, and Hogan back to throw. Looking left, still backpedaling, throws end zone. Man is open, and it's broken up. Retreating back to make the play was Easter. There was a man open at the goal line, and Hogan saw him too late. It'll be 2nd down.
And like I said, this has been a real fun battle to watch, with Myrick winning a couple of them, and Easter that time getting the best of Myrick and almost coming down with the interception. So those 2 are really battling it out and showing the weapons that they can be at the wide receiver position and at the cornerback position.
And you have to imagine, with as good as Easter is at that spot, he's probably not used to the receiver he's guarding being targeted as much as Myrick has been on this drive. Here's a handoff, and up the middle comes Spencer Peterson. Carries the ball to the 9-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal from there. 3rd and about 7. They can actually get a first down without scoring if they get the ball down to around the 2-yard line.
One of the things that you might have not been able to see there, but Myrick and Easter kind of walked up to each other in between plays, and I honestly kind of thought there was going to maybe be some trash talking or something like that, but really you could kind of see a sign of respect of, hey man, nice job, kind of a fist bump there. Just people, they love to compete, they love competing at the highest level, and they respect greatness when they see it.
End zone, Myrick, incomplete, and that time Easter had the opportunity to make an interception. A little bit of miscommunication, it appeared, between Hogan and Easton Myrick. Will set up a 4th down.
Yeah, it looked like Hogan was kind of anticipating maybe a slant there from Myrick, and Myrick actually turned it into somewhat of an out route, and Myrick actually turned it into a slant, and Hogan was anticipating the out, and so miscommunication there that almost led to the Easter interception.
And so a big decision here. Mark McMillan has made the call. They will go for it on 4th and 6. Hogan will roll to his right with some time, gets outside the numbers, throws back across, and it's intercepted. Scotty Easter, who else, with the interception down at the 1-yard line. His 2nd official interception of the game. He had one called back earlier because of a penalty. And what a game it has been for Scotty Easter, and you have to love the resiliency after several catches. I believe 3 or 4 catches were made by Easton Myrick on this possession, the receiver that Easter was in charge of covering on this series. And for him to bounce back and make that interception right on the 1-yard line shows a lot about his resiliency.
And that will not go unnoticed by the coaches that are either watching this game right now or will see the film later, because what you want to see in your cornerback is, yeah, I got beat, but I'm moving on. That play's behind me. I can't do anything about it. I'm taking on the next play with confidence. And you want to see that they have that attitude and that they will accept coaching. And I was watching Easter being coached by Coach Teague, and a lot of times you'll see players walk away, but Easter was absorbing all of the coaching he was getting from Coach Teague and then responds with the interception there at the goal line.
And now the East out of their own end zone. And this is not where you'd like to be, and it's going to be a touchdown for the West. The play is ruled a fumble, recovered in the end zone, and the West has its first touchdown of the game on the defensive side of the ball.
And I believe that was Josh Wilcutt, who the linebacker for the West, that was able to recover that fumble there in the end zone for a touchdown. I'm not entirely sure who got the pressure, if it was Wilcutt or another player there for the West, but someone came on the blind side of the quarterback and was able to force that fumble, and that's a huge spark that the West needed to slowly climb back in this game.
So now the extra point by Lewis after the defense for the West comes up big, and they get a non-offensive touchdown. Lewis will tack on the extra point out of the hold of Robert Amador III. And the kick is up, and Lewis missed it to the right. It is no good. And Matt, I know you were a kicker in your high school football days, played some quarterback, but also did some kicking. What goes into a kicker's mindset, maybe not working with a holder for very long? As we mentioned earlier, only 2 practices, not a ton of time for these guys to get acclimated with one another, but that long snapper, that holder, that kicker, with very short practice time, what sort of impact does that make?
You know, I was kind of watching that during pregame, because it's definitely not – I mean, Lewis has the ability, right? I mean, he's the number 3 kicker in the country. He's going to USC, so he has the ability to put that in. But like you said, Ryan, maybe these guys aren't used to being the deep snapper. Maybe they're just kind of in the couple of days that they've been here, hey, we got to have someone do this, and so here's how you do it, and only a couple of days kind of on the job, and they're still learning. Or maybe they're not the normal holder for their team or whatever it may be, and, you know, that's just – it's all got to be a fluid motion. If there's any kind of hesitation, it throws the kicking game off. And so there's a number of things that could happen there. But more than likely, it's a disruption of timing where the snap isn't there quick enough, or the holder, you know, catches it but can't spin it, and get the laces around. You know, there's a lot of factors that can contribute to the miss. But all of them are understandable if that's not something you do all day, every day, you know, during your high school football career.
Look at the spirited return by Taylor Evans of the East, bringing that ball out from 6 yards deep in the end zone, loses his helmet in the process, and the play is blown dead at the 15-yard line. That's where the East will start. 34-9. Both teams have missed an extra point. We're playing with 6:03 left here in this third quarter. And the West, having scored its first touchdown just a moment ago on a nice defensive play and a recovery in the end zone by Josh Wilcutt. Handoff on first down coming right up the middle to around the 20. That is Caleb Smiley on the carry. Colby Smiley, I beg your pardon. 6 foot 195 out of Oakwood High School in Illinois. Gain of 5 for Colby there. And a second down coming up for the East. Well, we've talked about just sort of the different intricacies of a game like this, and one that maybe goes totally unnoticed, and certainly we haven't talked about it on the broadcast yet, is the fact that a lot of these guys maybe have never played in a spread-type offense before. You and I are here from Texas. We're used to seeing a majority of the high school teams here in this state play with a spread-type offense and an up-tempo style. And that's just not necessarily the case everywhere in the country,
right.
Particularly at smaller schools and maybe in more rural areas. And so this might be, for some of the players here today, it might be the first time they've ever taken a snap out of the shotgun or run a play from a shotgun formation. And so that also plays in as a factor with the limited practice time. Cameron Mays, the quarterback's going to run it himself, and he's going to have a first down across the 30. They're able to pick up the first down that time with Cameron Mays on the ground.
And what a nice job there by Cameron Mays, because, you know, honestly, it didn't look like there was a lot of room. It looked really congested there, kind of around the 30-yard line. And I honestly thought when he took off that it was going to be a sack, or maybe at the best, maybe a 2-3 yard gain, just due to the amount of players there for the West team on defense. But great job there by Mays to kind of find the open alley and really show off his speed there to get the first down.
So first down up at the 35-yard line, and a toss right to Smiley, trying to get to the edge, and it'll be slung out of bounds. Good defensive play made by the West. That was Sean Rogers, the linebacker, who got over to make the play on Smiley, but another good gain by Smiley to get outside the numbers.
Yeah, nice blocking there by Troy Hall, the wide receiver for the East team, who I believe had a touchdown earlier on in the game. And so you kind of want to showcase your talents both ways, because sometimes, you know, it's not just about being able to catch the ball at the wide receiver position. Is that important? Of course. But you also have to be able to show that when it's a designed run, that you're going to be able to be counted on to be an effective blocker. And so Troy Hall showing earlier today, hey, I can catch the ball, hey, now I can block, and really showing the weapon that he can be for any college team that might extend him an offer.
And I think the other aspect of that is, you know, what does it look like to block in a regular high school football game? I think that says one thing, but to do it in an all-star game such as this, where really guys are just trying to get their numbers, and look at this run, carrying several people on his back, Keyshawn Turner showing off his strength with a first down on the catch and run into West Territory.
Keyshawn Turner out of Liberty North, a running back, 6'1", 215 pounds, showing his power. He finished the senior year with 1,037 yards rushing as a senior, averaged over 6.5 yards a carry with 14 touchdowns. So a very, very productive senior year, and we can see why with that run.
It was very impressive, catching that ball out of the backfield on the screen and then just running over people outside the numbers. First down for the East at the 35. Handoff, Smiley up the middle. He's into the second level. The 15, the 20, and Smiley knocked out of bounds inside the 5.
Great vision there by Smiley, a play that was designed to go up the middle. And before we talk about Smiley, which I'm about to, let me give some credit to the East offensive line there for opening up a massive lane for Smiley to run up the middle. And so, man, it can be such a weapon. When your running back goes 6-7 yards before they're even touched, you know, that is just a sign of a great job there by the offensive line, everyone doing their job. But then the vision by Smiley to kick it out to the right and gain those extra 12 to 15 yards just on that quick lateral move to bounce it out to the edge. So a nice run there by Smiley.
Mays will turn. He'll give it to Smiley. And Smiley, reaching for the goal line, will be brought down short. They'll mark him at the 2. It'll be second down and goal, about 3.5 minutes to play. Here in the third quarter at AT&T Stadium, Ryan Castle, Matt Kane, Sean Siglinski, and our entire Impact Football Network team. And it has been a good third quarter. The West has sort of stabilized things. They've outscored the East here in the third, but the East is threatening with second and goal at the 2. They got single coverage to the top of your screen. Mays will hand off, and Smiley will be rewarded for his earlier long run. It will pay off for a touchdown for Colby Smiley.
Nice job there by Smiley to take it in for the touchdown, kind of running behind his lead blocker, Cade Taylor, the offensive line, at 6'3", 290 pounds out of Weatherford, Texas. And Cade Taylor did a great job there of just getting his man and driving his man back, and that allowed a nice lane for Smiley to take it in for 6. So another great job there by the East offensive line, showing their power at the point of attack and how they can really be physical and dominate the line of scrimmage.
And now the extra point from Evan McGuire, who has made all but 1 point afters today. 3 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. It is now the East 41 and the West 9. What a performance today by George Teague, the head coach of the East, and his team to come out and play really well in all three phases. And, you know, sometimes when in games like this, and particularly in the way that the Blue-Gray Football All-American Bowl is sort of constructed with the different groups going in together, sometimes you see the drop-off from one group to the other. That first group really executes well offensively. The second group, maybe not quite as well, but still good. And then that third group is maybe kind of the drop-off. But once again, they've done an excellent job, these coaches, of really spreading out the talent, and we have not seen that drop-off from group to group. It's really been all three of those offensive groups for the East that have played well here today.
And credit, you know, the coaches to that. Obviously the players, they obviously get the credit because they're the ones that got to go out there and do it. But a great job there by the coaches to realize the importance of this game for all players, you know, not just for the starting group. But it's for this we want to maximize every single player's opportunity. And that just shows you how much these coaches really do care about investing in the future of these kids. You know, that they understand the importance of football. These coaches have played at the highest level, and they want to continue to develop that passion and skill set in every single one of the players on these teams. And so, to me, that just shows the level of attention and focus that Coach Teague and his staff are giving, you know, the player from the top of the roster all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, no question, and we'll maybe get to more of that as the game wears on here. 41-9, the East leading, and we'll see what the West can put together now on their third offensive possession of the third quarter. They're going to run a trick play on an end around, and the East able to stay home pretty well on this. Tackle made up close to the 30, and it was once again Isaac McGee who shows the wheels to get out on the edge at 2:55 and make that tackle on the receiver, Devondrick Crow, who took the end-around toss.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do because once that receiver gets that ball in open space, you know, receivers are just so fast nowadays, and if you give them a full steam ahead, you know, it's really hard to catch them and bring them down. So a great job there by the East defense to kind of everybody play contain, force that play back inside, and able to make the stop.
So second down and about 5. Crow did gain 5 on that play. They're going to fake that same play, now toss it out to the right to Davis, and Davis is going to be tracked down by Ben Furtney, who will sling him violently out of bounds. And not much there for the West as they sort of tried a variation of the trick play that got him 5 on the previous play. This time, nothing. It'll be third down.
I've been really impressed today with Ben Furtney at the linebacker position. I felt like he's made a lot of open field tackles, played disciplined football, been an instinctive linebacker. You know, he came into the game with an offer from Cornell, and I would imagine that a coach that gets a hold of this film, or maybe if they're here today watching, I would imagine some more offers are going to start flowing in for Ben Furtney with the performance that he's had today.
Here comes a third down and 5. And a throw out to the right is wide of the target, incomplete. Keegan Tharp unable to connect with Crow on the far sideline, sets up fourth down and 5. And let's send it downstairs right now to Sean Siglinski.
Hey, standing here with Hadley Panzer at the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl, member of the East team. Score's getting out of hand. Seems like the sideline's still pretty spirited. What's it been like out there for you guys today?
Yeah, I'm definitely very blessed to be able to come here. You know, I'd rather be out there playing, but just being able to be around the guys and everything has been pretty awesome. So.
Had the opportunity to come in yesterday, enjoy the banquet, listen to some of the NFL guys speak about their experiences. Shed some light on that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you get some guys that got you, you know, hyped up, you know, like the D-line coach, and then, you know, definitely listen to some of the other NFL guys was definitely really cool because I haven't, you know, experienced that or been around, you know, those guys, so that was really awesome.
Blue-Gray All-American Bowl, next stop, you're headed to Kansas State for your college. What's the experience like, do you feel? What are you hoping to gain from this next step in your journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think the next step is to start developing and start growing and start, you know, just getting to work, you know, because it's not going to be a given getting there. So definitely have to earn my way there, and I'm definitely excited about it. So it's going to take a lot of work, but I just praise God for everything that he's done for me.
Good. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Ryan.
All right, thanks, Sean, and great to see Hadley down there enjoying himself. And a good punt, by the way, as we were downstairs at the interview. A great punt by Robert Amador III, a 55-yarder without a return. And so now it is East ball, 1 minute remaining here in this third quarter. And the East comfortably in control, 41-9. And I know this has got to be fun for the East down there. Certainly, as we've mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily about who wins this game, but these are football players. These are coaches that played and coached in the NFL, and certainly they want to win the game. And that's what the East is doing right now in dramatic fashion. Handoff here on second down, and a gain of maybe a yard to bring up third down.
Ryan, I want to go back and apologize for a mistake I maybe made earlier in our broadcast. I think I called Hadley Panzer's name on a tackle earlier in the game, and he's clearly, after watching that video, it was not him, with him being in the cast. So my apologies to whatever player I missed the tackle on, but sometimes it's kind of hard to see down there with those numbers. But after watching that interview, I'm realizing it was not Panzer like I had originally.
That's quite the realization to come to, but that's okay. We'll forgive you for that one. Here's a third down throw. Brister with a completed pass to Smith, and a first down across the 30. Good job by Brister, who has really shown good presence in the pocket today. And the student athlete out of Neville High School in Louisiana, who is looking at possibly Jacksonville State or Louisiana Monroe. That list may grow by the time this day is done. And that will be the end of the third quarter here at AT&T Stadium. We're glad to have you with us on the Impact Football Network. Ryan Castle, Matt Kane, Tanner Long, our producer, and Sean Siglinski down on the sidelines here at the home of the Dallas Cowboys. And we were down on the field earlier and talking with Gus Bell, who's sort of the head man at Blue-Gray football, and he made a comment that, has kind of been sticking with me throughout this game, and it's that, 20 hours ago, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Jason Garrett, Jason Witten, the entire Dallas Cowboys organization, their fans were all in this place, and now 20 hours later, here's the Blue-Gray football game playing on this very same field, and I know that's got to be such a special moment for a lot of these players, especially as we talked about earlier, the ones from out of state where there may not be a National Football League franchise. They may never step foot in an NFL stadium, and so to get to play here today is such a rewarding thing for these players in their one last final game as a high school player.
Well, and especially when you're playing in like an iconic stadium like the Cowboys, everyone knows the Cowboys. If you're a Texas kid and you go play in Baltimore, or some other, not to diss Baltimore Ravens or anything like that, but it just doesn't carry the same amount of weight that the Cowboys Stadium play that does. So really cool stadium to play in, really great opportunity for the kids.
And this play for the East has been a comedy of errors. Several fumbles on the play. It was a trick play gone awry, to say the very least, for the East, and I think it was finally recovered by the West, and that's a good way to start the fourth quarter if you're Mark McMillan and the West trying to get your way back into this game.
Yeah, not really sure that's how they drew it up, but I'm sure they'll take the 4-yard gain there or whatever it may be. But I'm not even sure there was so much going on in that play.
Well, there were at least two fumbles. The first one was recovered by the East, and the second one was not. And so it'll be West ball. And they're starting with probably their best starting field position of the day at the East 37-yard line. That's been one of the things that has sort of gone unnoticed today, is the East's ability to sort of control the field advantage game. And now the West will try to go to work with Deuce Hogan. Escapes the pocket to his left. Looking downfield, is going to fire deep, and it's incomplete. Nobody open down there. Scotty Easter was trying for his third interception of the game. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, good job there by Hogan. Just to try to, make something out of nothing, extending the play by moving out of the pocket and kind of just being patient and just allowing his receivers to try to find an open spot on the field. But again, the secondary for the East has just been really good today. And Easter tried to come up with the interception there by keeping his feet in bounds, but just a little bit too outside for him to get his hands on it.
So 2nd and 10 for the West. Just underway in the 4th quarter. Hogan takes a low snap, throws left. Ball is caught, and it's Easton Myrick again. Tackled immediately by Scotty Easter. A gain of 5, and here comes 3rd down.
And Easter showing off his speed again like we talked about earlier. He's a member of the track and field team at Andale and up there in Kansas, and I was reading a little bit about that program. It's a really storied program, some state championships in track and field, and a really successful football program. So a lot of athletes up there. He was part of the all-senior, all-state team, and they went on to be the 3A state champions, and I'm sure he played a huge role in his team's success both in football and on the track and field team.
3rd and 5, Hogan throws left. Myrick again right at the stick. Tackled by Easter, and that has been a fun matchup to watch, as you alluded to, in this second half. And Myrick will get the better of Easter here. A catch for a 1st down to the East 26.5-yard line.
Yeah, it really has been fun to watch, and what's been really cool is to see kind of the battle, obviously, but also just the players' response. When they get beat, they're not giving up. They're putting it behind them and moving on to the next play, and then they make the play, and then it's kind of going back and forth almost like a ping-pong match. And so it's been a lot of fun to watch there on the Easter and Myrick battling at the cornerback and wide receiver position.
And a handoff here on 1st down. Not much room to run there for Dion Barnes out of Riley County High School in Kansas. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. So it'll be 2nd down coming up. And, the flip side of my comment that I made earlier about the spread offense, there may be some players, and particularly from Texas, that are playing today that have never huddled before. And that's something that certainly you have to do in a game like this where there are no hand signals, or at least time to implement hand signals. Hogan straight back to throw. Again, a little bit of pressure. He's going to escape and run it himself now. And coming up and making the tackle after only a 2-yard gain is the West. And it was Easter again who, they have this expression, nose for the football. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I'm pretty sure Scotty Easter's picture is right next to that definition.
I mean, he has just shown his ability in almost every facet of the game, just from the cornerback position, because sometimes you have a guy that's really incredible in coverage, but, you lose a little bit in his ability to tackle or whatever it may be. But he has shown that he is the complete package there at the cornerback position. A great game from Scotty Easter.
3rd down and 8. Hogan, pressure, and he throws it right side incomplete. And there was Devondrick Crow in the neighborhood. The officials will look around at each other and think about intentional grounding here, and we'll see what their conclusion is. But either way, it's going to be 4th down. The officials will get together, decide, nope, there was a receiver in the area. So 4th down now for the West. And so now a decision for Mark McMillan. Looks like the decision is made. Down 41-9. They will go for it on 4th down and 7. And see what Deuce Hogan is able to do with his team needing a play. Straight back to throw, looking left, pressure comes. He escapes the pocket, throws back off his back foot. Broken up on the back end, incomplete. And stepping in to make the play, Taylor Evans, the defensive back out of Crespi High School in California. And he ends the drive for the West. It'll be East ball taking over, up 41-9.
And I believe that's Taylor Evans' second pass breakup of the day. Just when, even though if you're beat, just that closing speed that you might have to recover. And Taylor Evans really showed kind of a nice burst of acceleration there to kind of catch up to the receiver and then, knock that ball down. And a lot of times you'll see players commit a pass interference or just kind of run into the receiver as they're trying to catch up. But he did a nice job of kind of controlling his body and also breaking up the pass. So nice job there by Evans.
Handoff, Luke Doucette on 1st down, and a nice job to cut up the field. He will cross the 30 and get close to a 1st down. Luke Doucette, who has had a nice game, especially here in the second half, running the ball out of Iota, Louisiana. He's in there right now with John Oliver as the running backs. And Jalen Smith, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, will come to the sidelines. Second down and short for the East. And the snap, Lunsford, the quarterback, wants to throw and is able to escape out of what would have been a sack, and now still trying to get out of it, and now he's going to go down. And this is going to turn into a huge play defensively for the West as Lunsford kept trying to spin out of trouble, and it was almost as if the spins were getting him in more trouble.
And I believe that was Delonte Dickey, the linebacker at 6'3", 205 pounds for the West team, who was able to finally come down with the sack. And let me tell you why that's a common thing for him to have experience is he had 13 sacks as a senior in high school, 26 solo tackles, 90 total tackles as a senior, average 6.5 tackles per game. But the thing that stands out to me is the 13 sacks that he was able to accumulate as a senior and adding another one there on that play.
Dickey is the weak side linebacker on the inside right now here on third down and very long. Handoff to Oliver on a delayed draw. And Oliver will again show his strength, cross the 20-yard line, and make it a more manageable fourth down here for the East. And going back again to Delonte Dickey, you mentioned the speed to be able to get into the backfield, certainly impressive. As far as a linebacker is concerned, you know, Dickey listed on our roster at 6'3", 205. But you look at his frame, Matt, he's got the ability to put on 30 to 35 pounds once he gets on campus. And at that point, you're talking about a legit linebacker.
Right, and that, you know, that just shows you, like, kind of the vision that these college coaches have, because I follow recruiting pretty closely. And, you know, you hear about these offers going out that we offered him at the linebacker position, and you're like, I don't really see that. And then maybe a year or two after being in the strength and conditioning program, all of a sudden you're looking at this guy and you're like, hold on. That's the guy that we offered as a linebacker, and now he's 6'3", 240, you know, just a beast of a linebacker. And so, like you said, Ryan, Dickey definitely has the frame to look like, man, he could add some good weight and be a really, really physically impressive player at the college level.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of a guy by the name of Malik Jefferson, who played at Mesquite Poteet High School a few years back, went on to start at the University of Texas, and when Jefferson arrived on campus in Austin was probably 215, and probably 8 months later, 240 and a monster. And that kind of seems like where Dickey could be headed if he takes things seriously in the weight room when he hits a college campus. It's west ball, wide open receiver downfield, ball's caught. Running away is Zach Goodwin. Inside the East 20, and the longest play of the day for the West offense, Zach Goodwin with the catch, and they've got first down at the East 16-yard line.
A nice throw there by Hogan to find Goodwin on the little kind of seam route up the middle, and Goodwin really showing his athleticism. He's a four-sport athlete in high school, played football, basketball, baseball, and ran track, and showed his ability there to not only make the catch, but then to make that nice move inside to pick up some extra yards.
And now on the right side, McFarland will score. Jamar McFarland out of Yuma Catholic with the touchdown. And all of a sudden, the West creeping its way back into the game. It's now 41-15, and the extra point try is still to come.
Nice job there by the offensive line. Great blocking by the wide receivers. And you could kind of tell from the beginning of that play was going to be successful and more than likely was going to end up in the end zone just because of the execution by all parties involved for the West team. So nice job there by McFarland to take it in for the 6.
So now the extra point from Parker Lewis, who has missed one already today but otherwise has been perfect. And the kick is up, and it's no good. He missed it to the left. Parker Lewis has not had the day that he envisioned, certainly, when he woke up this morning, but the West will take the 6 points and make it 41-15 now with 9:24 remaining here in this fourth quarter. And that's just impressively done by Mark McMillan's team. Going to say, look, hey, I know the score is what it is, but we're going to keep fighting. And that's what they did there. Zach Goodwin with the reception out of Marion High School here in Texas at 6'165", and he showed some good ability to get some separation from the secondary, and that led to the touchdown.
Yeah, going back to that missed PAT, it really is just as I was kind of paying closer attention based on some earlier events, what's going on, because Parker Lewis, he missed one earlier, and it really does seem like there's some type of disruption in the timing of the hold. There's just something that's throwing Lewis off a little bit in his footwork, and then if you start stuttering and you lose your momentum going forward, it's really hard to just kind of fall through with that kick. But, one thing that we've seen from Parker Lewis today is it's not a lack of ability on his leg. He can really kick the ball, but it's just really about timing, which, again, is explained by just their lack of practice, that these guys have had together.
And right on cue, Parker Lewis doinks one off the left upright. That's a touchback, and it's coming out to the 25-yard line. And, one of the things, and I'm not sure, to be honest with you, how common this is around the rest of the country. I can tell you here in Texas high school football, it's very uncommon to have your punter as your holder. Usually you have someone who can be a little bit more athletic, not to take anything away from punters, but certainly you'd have someone that you would consider an offensive skill type player there to make a play if something bad happens on the snap. And part of that is probably that's factoring into these missed extra points is the fact that these punters are not accustomed to being a holder, and that's a tough position to learn in 2 days.
Right.
Not a lot of people pay attention to the job the holder has, but it's an important one. And now Cameron Mays for the East on what looked like a broken play will turn nothing into about 12 yards.
I've been really impressed with Cameron Mays a couple of times that he's been able to kind of, not that was a design quarterback draw, but he took off pretty early. And once he's in the open field, he has a really, really impressive speed and more than that, just great vision of where to go with the football and to find the open lanes. And a couple of times today, he's been able to pick up some nice yardage with his feet.
So a first down carry for Mays up to the 38-yard line. Got two running backs in the backfield. He'll fake the handoff to Turner, going to try to keep it himself, and he'll be brought down from behind. Tackle was made by Ben Haynes out of Papillion La Vista High School in Nebraska, and there is a penalty flag in on the play. And the officials are going to call for timeout as there is an East player down on the play. Looks like that might be Andy Buttrell, one of the offensive linemen, shaken up. So timeout called with 8:41 remaining here in the fourth quarter, and that'll give us an opportunity to remind you that we'll have three more of these class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowls coming up for you in the next month. On January the 4th, we'll be in Tampa Bay at Raymond James Stadium. And that game will be broadcast live on ESPN3 and then archived thereafter for you to go back and watch as well. And so we hope you can join us for that broadcast on ESPN3. And then 9 days later on January the 13th, we'll be live from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, the home of the Atlanta Falcons, before we come back here to AT&T on January the 20th. Mays on first down. Delayed draw to Smiley, and he's tripped up in the backfield. Nicely done defensively there by the West. And on the tackle was James Luer out of Prospect Ridge Academy in Colorado, and his penetration into the backfield blowing that play up for a loss of 4.
Yeah, that play really didn't have a lot of chance to be successful even from the start because of just how quickly James Luer was able to get back there and kind of disrupt it before it even had a chance to kind of, play out. And so nice job by Luer there to beat his man and then make the tackle and kind of trip up the running back there. And, Ryan, as I was thinking about this game, it's just, this opportunity that Gus Bell has provided for these kids. I mean, back in the day, you know, like if you were a player in Kansas that didn't really get noticed, I mean, without these games, without social media, without huddle, you just didn't get noticed. I mean, there was no additional ways for you to kind of put yourself out there. And so I just think it's a really cool opportunity that Gus Bell has provided for these kids, another avenue for them to get their name out there and extend their college career or their football career in college.
What a great play that was on the intended pass to Haven Peenan, broken up beautifully on the back end by Jacob McRae, who had an interception earlier. And I believe that we do have a penalty down on the play, and that's against the East. So that penalty will move them back even further. We'll wait and see if the West wants to accept the penalty.
It looked like the coaches were waving it off, but
the incompletion would set up 4th down.
Yeah, they declined it.
Yep, that's probably the right call. That will force the East more than likely to punt the ball away here. 7:19 remaining in this game. Or do they have the down? Okay, I guess they had the down box correct then. It was 3rd down now, so 3rd down coming up. So the chop block penalty against the East declined. And so 3rd down and 13 coming up. Cameron Mays back to the line of scrimmage. And I think the officials and both coaches are really trying to figure out what down it is, because the down box just changed to 4th down. And so the officials are going to call for timeout and try to sort this out. Right now, George T. getting the better of his University of Alabama teammate Mark McMillan. Both of those guys storied NFL careers. Mark McMillan, Pro Bowl cornerback with the Eagles and the Chiefs. And, of course, George T., well known by Cowboys fans, and he also played for a couple of other franchises in his time in the National Football League. Known as a hard-nosed safety and a big hitter. So it is 4th down, and so the East will punt. And this is Miles Tillman. High boomer of a kick. And here's the return from the 10 and nothing. Good coverage down the field by the East. That's just well done all around, from the punt to the coverage to the tackle.
Yeah, nice coverage there by Chase Richter, the defensive back out of Cy Woods High School in Texas, and he was actually named a District 14 6A first team all-district player, so a nice job there using his speed to get down there and make the tackle. But really all that was set up by Miles Tillman, just a max prep preseason All-American, first-team punter, you know, just, I mean, the height, the spiral, I mean, just the distance, everything you want in a punt. Tillman was able to deliver there. And we were watching him I mean, that wasn't just a one-time thing for him. I mean, he was, in pregame, he was doing it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And just a really, really effective weapon there at the punter position.
52 yards, -5 on the return. And a handoff on 1st down, crossing the 5 and getting up to about the 8 is the ball carrier. Tackle made by Julian Rangel. And on the carry, I believe that was Jalen Davis, who has been sort of all over the place today. He's been lined up in the slot, out wide, now as a running back, and gains 2 on that 1st down carry. For the West, trailing by 26 points, but still 6:30 remaining in the game, trying to get something going out from the shadow of their own end zone. Play fake, and Hogan looking to throw off his back foot and incomplete, looking for Myrick, who was well covered by Scotty Easter. And the incompletion is going to set up 3rd down and about 8 to go.
And I think this is where Coach McMillan maybe needs to kind of pull his guys, you know, to the side and say, hey, listen, we're down. Yes, we're down by 26 and, you know, just a little over 6 minutes to go in this game. And, yes, we want to win, but more importantly than winning, we want to make sure that we are – you know, keeping the mindset of what this is really about. Because no college coach is going to walk away talking about, oh, you won the game. They're more going to talk about and remember your performance during the game. So, yes, if you lose, okay, obviously you want to win, but you want to go out fighting. You want to go out showing your talent and showing that you're going to be a player who fights to the end. And so Coach McMillan is probably reminding his players of that.
There was a penalty on that last play, so the incompletion was negated. It was a 5-yard penalty against the East to set up a second down and about 3, and the incompletion by Hogan will now set up third down for the West. The big news of the day is Cade Renfro making his announcement just prior to the kickoff of today's game that he will commit to play college football in the SEC for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. So congratulations to Cade on making his announcement, 3-star quarterback from Stephenville High School here in Texas. He's going to go play for the new head ball coach at Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. Hogan going deep, and it is intercepted on the back end. An incredible play is made by Taylor Evans. There were 2 receivers and 2 defensive backs, and Evans wanted it more than anybody else.
And we've called Taylor Evans his name a couple times today. You know, he had a stop there at the goal line and showed his closing speed, and that time just did a really good job of staying stride for stride with the receiver, and at the very last second, cutting up in front of him for the interception.
Before the next snap, let's go downstairs to Sean.
Standing here with Buju Tuisavura for the West. You guys are still staying in the fight, though the score might not be working out for you. What's it like being around these guys for a couple days, learning about some new teammates from different parts of the country?
It's a big blessing, coming from Hawaii. You don't really get to see all the competition out here on the East Coast, so it's a good experience. Just happy I was able to come out and bring my family out here for a good time.
So you start off in Hawaii, moved to Utah at 7, and now you're standing at Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium. Kind of surreal for you?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy knowing that Deion Sanders was over here scoring touchdowns and high-stepping, so it's kind of cool coming over here.
Talk about your support system with your family, also NFL veteran Tavita Ofengawi, and them helping create opportunities for you to play at the next level, which we'll get to soon here.
Yeah, like I said, Uncle Tia has been there for me ever since I moved to Utah. He was always inviting me to camps, always trying to get me out there, and I'm just blessed for what he has done for me and my family. And also I like to thank my parents because when we moved to Utah, they're still young, but they sacrificed a lot for me and my siblings to live out our dreams, and so I'm just blessed to have them as my parents.
And then in terms of college, you spoke with some Mountain West Conference schools. Recruiting starting to pick up. Do you feel like this game, this effort could be a springboard for you to get that scholarship?
Yes, this is a great platform to me to continue to show what God has blessed me with, and I'm just happy that the Blue and Gray gave me this opportunity.
Back to you, Ryan.
All right, Sean, thanks very much. I got a chance to talk a little bit with Buju's father yesterday. That was a great conversation, really good family, and glad to have the Tuisavuras with us here in Arlington for this Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. And meanwhile on the field, 3rd down and 9 for the East, and Andrew Brister with a throw to the near side, which is incomplete. Intended for Jalen Smith, who had a touchdown catch earlier in the first half, and that will set up 4th down.
And that was nice effort there by Jalen Smith. Not a bad ball there by Brister. A little low, but it's a tough throw to make, throwing across the field like that. And a nice job there by Smith to go down and try to get that. It's not easy to do when you're 6'3" and you have to go all the way kind of low to the ground to try to catch it. But a good effort there by him. And that's, I think that means a lot to these coaches to see the players giving it all. And even if it's, not using maybe a low ball, as an excuse, but still to fight to try to make the catch. So nice job there by Smith to try to make the reception.
So now Amador the third with the punt, and this will be not quite his best effort of the day. Angled towards the sideline. It will go out of bounds at around the 30. And so the West will take back over. 4:52 remaining in the game, and it looks a lot like George Teague will get the better of Mark McMillan here today at AT&T Stadium. Of course, that's not the most important aspect of this game, but it is an important aspect nonetheless. And these coaches want to come out here and they want to win the game, and so do the players. And right now, the East ahead 41-15. Let's see what the offense for the West can do. Deuce Hogan is back out there, the commit to Iowa. Going to go play for Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes. And before the first snap of this drive, a timeout will be called by the West. It's their first timeout of the half. So lots of good talking points in today's game. We've really called a lot of guys names quite often today, and even some of the guys whose names we maybe haven't gotten to over the course of the broadcast. This has been a really well-played game. The West has been able to clean up the turnovers that sort of plagued them in the first half. They've kept the penalties to a minimum, especially for a game such as this, and it's been a really enjoyable game to watch in a lot of aspects.
And that's what we expected. Both rosters have talent on both sides of the ball, and it's pretty evenly matched. We coming in, we thought West was going to have the advantage, so great job there by East to kind of maybe not be the better looking team on paper, but to come out and execute better, and a huge hit there on the running play.
Deion Barnes got the carry, and by the time the play was over, he might not have been as happy that he took that handoff. It gets up and walks back to the huddle. Looks like he's perfectly fine. A great hit on that play. And it looks like it might have been Chase Richter out of Cy Woods here in Texas, the safety, who came over and laid the boom down on Deion Barnes. Handoff again to Barnes. And a good job by Barnes there to not run scared even after taking that previous hit. Got a first down carry, by the way, on that last play, and this time he gains 3.
There's a tackle made there by Andrew Scott, the linebacker for the East team, and we've been really impressed today with just the closing speed of the linebackers for the East. We've called several of their names today, and it's kind of been a group effort there in the middle for the linebackers, but I've been really impressed in their ability to read the run and then make the tackle, or drop back in coverage and really run with some of these receivers in the open field, stride for stride. And so very, very impressive day for the East linebackers.
And a play fake. Hogan out to the left, and this is not going to go well for the West. The East gets out there, makes a quick tackle as the catch was made by Connor Auld, the running back, and he was tackled immediately.
Yeah, tackled by Ruben Linker, a linebacker, who we talked about earlier, not the biggest guy at 5'10", 175 pounds out of Webb City. But he's the guy that I talked about earlier, Ryan, that I watched a little bit of his highlights. And you know how sometimes you just watch some highlights and you're like, whoa, I got to keep watching this. I mean, that play was impressive. And he is just so instinctive and so aggressive. And some of the hits were so not violent in a bad way. I mean, violent in the clean tackle, just a guy who loves to play the game of football. So really fun to watch his highlights, and he's had a great day today.
Hogan is going to load up and go deep, and it's incomplete. Intended down the field for Kyle Gaster out of Mesa Ridge High School in Colorado. He was double covered on the play. And good coverage back there by the East. That was Brandon Florence Jr., who was joined back there by Ben Furtney, who we've mentioned as well several times, not only working as a linebacker to come up and make tackles, but they're showing the ability to get back and cover as well.
Yeah, and that's what we were just talking about, that the East linebackers have been able to do all day. I mean, that's 40, 50 yards downfield that Furtney was able to kind of stay stride for stride with a receiver. And so Furtney, who came into the game with an offer from Cornell, I think, if you're a college coach, those offers are going to start coming in for him, because he's had quite an impressive day, both in stopping the run and being an active force and stopping the passing game.
The punt by Amador III will go inside the 30 and be killed by Heston Warner at about the 29-yard line. So with 3:20 remaining here in the fourth quarter, it will be East ball starting at their own 28. And the defense has really been impressive, really on both sides. There's been several players on both sides of the ball, both teams defensively that we've called, and choosing offensive and defensive MVP from this game will be pretty tough. And I keep going back to the Andrew Scott interception. You brought his name up a couple of minutes ago, but that might be the play of the game. the one-handed behind his back interception that he made earlier.
Yeah, I think definitely the most consistent player on defense today, I would have to say, has been Scotty Easter at the cornerback position for the East. I mean, obviously, he was battling Myrick earlier, the wide receiver for the West, and Myrick won a couple of those battles. But overall, I mean, Easter's had 2 clean interceptions, had 1 called back because of a penalty. So almost 3 interceptions on the day, and made a couple nice plays on tackles. And so I've been really, really impressed with him on the defensive side of the ball.
That first down play, Lunsford trying to go deep. Incomplete, so 2nd down and 10 for the East at their own 28-yard line. And you can tell that neither one of these coaches thinking necessarily the way that a coach in a normal game would. There's no way that a team would be throwing up by 26 with 3 minutes to play in the game, and that's okay because we get to see good plays like that one on the screen to the left. A good run after the catch by David White from Cassville out of Missouri. A first down.
Nice catch, and then a nice tackle there by Heston Warner, the defensive back out of Greenway, Arizona. He has 9 career interceptions in his high school days and 180 total tackles. So a really, really nice player there at the defensive back position for his high school team, and showing off his ability to tackle there and tackle aggressively and a clean tackle, not anything illegal there, just a good hard-nosed football play. And so nice job there by Warner to make the stop.
Doucette and Oliver, the running backs. This is first down from the 46, and Lunsford screen over the middle. Oliver bobbles and then drops. Incomplete. A lot of traffic in around Oliver as he was trying to haul in that throw. It'll be 2nd down.
And I like seeing, obviously not a decision you necessarily want your quarterback to make there, and throwing up the ball in the middle of the field. And so Lunsford, knows that. But what I love seeing is, the offensive coordinator, Seneca Wallace, kind of still coaching, realizing that my role today in these kids' lives is to coach them every minute that I possibly can and give them as much feedback to improve their skill set and their position. And so I love seeing that their team's up by 26 with 2.5 minutes to go, and he's still coaching.
And here is Doucette on the carry. Luke Doucette with a first down into West territory, brought down at about the 42-yard line, and they continue to run the ball well behind that huge offensive line down there for the East. Rudy King at 6'1", 270 out of Cissna Park, Illinois. Out there along with Edward Reilly, who you mentioned earlier, had a good point of attack block on one of their touchdowns. Earlier in the game, Braden Higgins at 6'6" and 260 pounds out of Illinois. And they've got another first down on the back of that offensive line. Low snap, Lunsford back to throw, and is going to plant and go deep into double coverage, and that's and now dropped. Heston Warner had an interception and was unable to squeeze it. And that incompletion will set up 2nd and 10.
And I love, Warner showing his skill set there, because 2 plays ago he was the one that came up and had that nice tackle on the open field, and then now a couple of plays later shows his ability to really effectively play that safety position and provide that help over the top. Sometimes your corner gets beat, but your corner knows he has safety help, and so you're kind of trusting your safety to do his job. And so a nice job there by Warner to show that he plays disciplined football, knows his assignment, and then has the ability to go make the play.
2nd and 10 now. Lunsford, fake handoff, and he'll throw across the middle. Ball tipped up into the air, and that is intercepted. Dorflinger, the intended receiver, and it went off of his hands and was picked off. So that will turn the ball back over to the West.
And it's good to see the West team continue to fight, just under a minute and a half to go in the game. And, obviously the East is going to walk away with this game being up by 26. And you could easily give up and kind of just realize this thing's over. Again, these players realize what this day is really about. It's not about necessarily winning, although that's part of it. It's about showing off your talents. And if there's a second left on the clock, just even if there's only 1 second, still continue to fight, because that might be the one play that sticks out in a college coach's mind and earns you a scholarship.
Mason Peary, who was the high school quarterback we mentioned earlier, now trying to play defensive back here at the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. He was the one who got the interception on Lunsford. And a deep throw down the left side, incomplete for the West. Will bring up 2nd down and 10. 1:20 remaining in the game. And you see there Scotty Easter, number 4, out of Andale, Kansas, has had a great game, has been in there quite a lot, and he has made each and every opportunity pay off for him today.
Yeah, he has, and Drew Edwards is also there on the play to make that stop, and he's had a great game also, but definitely been very impressed with Scotty Easter today in his performance at the cornerback position.
2nd down and a quick throw to the slot, and that's going to be a completed pass up to the 41-yard line. Catch was made by Kyle Gaster, and it was a good read by the quarterback Hogan. They were giving that slot receiver Gaster a lot of cushion off the line, and just a quick throw and a completion to bring up 3rd down.
And Gaster's another one of those guys that we've talked about today who is actually playing outside of what they normally played in high school. Kyle Gaster, actually a quarterback in high school with just under 1,200 yards passing on the season, 17 total touchdowns as a senior, playing the wide receiver position today, showing his versatility on the field.
3rd down and 3. Hogan looking, now rolls to his right, and will get the 1st down himself as he crosses the 45. Good job by Deuce Hogan to find the opening in the defense outside the numbers, and he'll move the chains. Clock will stop as he goes out of bounds with 32 seconds remaining.
Well, Ryan, I definitely think the story on the offensive side of the ball has been, all 3 quarterbacks for the East team really had a nice game today. Each of them, I believe, throwing for a touchdown and just being able to kind of extend drives and move their team down the field. And so been really impressed for the quarterbacks for the East.
Hogan again will go back to throw and hit as he throws, trying to find a receiver in a comeback pattern. Mason Ewing out of University High School in Colorado, the intended receiver, and that was broken up. 25 seconds left, so down to the final few snaps of the game and last few opportunities for these players to get something on film here in the class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. It's been a good game played by both sides despite the lopsided score. Really, both teams have played well. 2nd down and 10, and Hogan in the shotgun. Will again go back to throw. Pressure comes in his face off the left side. He dumps it off, and a 1st down inside East territory to the 42-yard line. Spencer Peterson, who had a couple of nice runs earlier in the first half, this time adds a catch to the 42 for a 1st down. 10 seconds remaining. This may be the final snap of the game. And the West will call timeout to give themselves enough time to line up. With 5 seconds remaining, we're looking at one more play. And, Matt, real quick, just give me who you think offensive MVP, defensive MVP of the game are.
I was really impressed with Doucette at the running back position. I thought he had a couple of nice, runs earlier. Again, the quarterbacks for the East have been, really impressive. Cameron Mace had a lot of nice, runs in the open field, and thought Lunsford's had a good game. Thought Brister's looked really good in the pocket, kind of patient in the pocket, standing tall and delivering accurate balls. So it's hard for me to choose out of that group. And I know I've called his name a lot, but I keep going back to just the day Scotty Easter's had on the defensive side of the ball. I would, between him and Ben Furtney, both of them have been very active. So I would think it's got to be out of that group for the defensive MVP.
All right, we'll see which team put in a late game situation. And that's going to be a completed pass and a tackle, and that's going to do it. And George T gets the ice bath and a 41-15 win over his former college teammate. The final score here today, East 41 and the West 15. And the official Blue-Gray All-American MVPs have been named. Cole Long from the West named the defensive MVP. Andrew Brister from the East named the offensive MVP. So congratulations to those two guys. A great showing here today. Really from both teams, 41-15 is the final. Again, that's not the most important thing to happen here today at AT&T Stadium. A lot of players, Matt, today took a step forward in their dreams of playing college football. And, you know, early signing period starts on Wednesday. There's another national signing day that takes place in February. But for a lot of these players, it might be the summer until something rolls along that they're truly interested in. And until then, they'll keep grinding, they'll keep fighting, and hope for the best.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you just got to keep your head up. Even if nothing comes from this game immediately, you just got to be patient and realize that just because it doesn't happen today doesn't mean it's not going to happen, and continue to work, continue to get your name out there, send film. You know, that's the beauty of social media, Twitter, Huddle, all these avenues that you have to really get your name out there. And so just keep fighting, and, you know, hopefully it pays off for some of these kids. But, you know, even if it doesn't, you know, a lot of these guys have a bright future of them. Even if it's not in football, they'll go on to do great things.
Well, that'll do it for us from AT&T Stadium, where the East defeats the West 41-15 in the class of 2020 Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. We'll be back with you January the 4th on ESPN3 from Tampa Bay's Raymond James Stadium. We hope you can join us then. Until then, for Matt Cain and our entire Impact Football Network team, so long from AT&T Stadium. We'll talk to you next time.